So to give a little recap of where we're picking back up, Daryls, I was really interested in night two. I thought the whole party would be here because we're going to talk about this new name, suppose that you guys are throwing around, and
Uh,
I have no clue how to pronounce it. So I wanted to hear
Neither. I was very excited to like.
I wanted
Okay,
to
this
hear
is
how to pronounce that name, but so I could change all you guys, letterhead and everything eventually, if that's the case. But maybe that's for another day. We're picking back up here, where the party, is trying to find I guess what's become I wouldn't say a close friend, but someone that is important and is very much connected to the party. It's connected to Alcides, the Acroian soldier, who is trying to build up Erroneous to uh, this poor weak fellow, right, who was feigning over this woman and who was much stronger than him and who was a Setessan warrior, and so maybe there's a chance to get him up to par so that he actually, whether he gets her or not, but just so that he is more manly, right? So finds his place in the world. And so Alcides had him on like doing fetch quests and running errands across Theros. Everything was going fine. And then after our last stint in the underworld, we were able to scry using an oracle to find out where he was. And while he was alive, it looks like he was way off base from where he should be. He wasn't in Acrois, he wasn't in Sotessa, he wasn't on the path, somewhere between. He's off going western, like northern, towards the Badlands, towards Scophos, um, a place of marauding, uh, um, minotaurs, bandits, war bands, a place of death, a place of humid and constantly changing weathers, um, and a place, the Scophos itself, which is where the labyrinths of the Minotaurs, where the Horn King is, and where Mogus really his presence is strong, seeing as the bloodlust and the warmongering is the most heavy in all of Theros. Um, and they have shown up there. They now have this flying chariot, and they're able to kind of survey the landscape, and they see these cannibals on these like bridge-like structures between two of the canyon walls, and they're able to come down and kill those guys and find out what's going on. And they fight this hunchback Fomarian, destroy him, and then Calyx captures his soul so that they can kind of use it as a guide or to find out a little bit more about Scophos. Um, it's probably midday right now, and the figure shares with them, Theotis as he calls himself, about the entryway to. If they're looking for this person, it's probably best to start at the entry of the labyrinth, then one of the many levels you see like behind me. And I believe that's where we're at. Anything you guys want to add to that? Okay. All right.
got his eye too.
What's that?
I also got his eye too.
Yes. And did I give out piety, or I thought I
No.
did? No. Okay. I'll give out two Iroas piety to anyone who would take it. Seeing as it is the mortal enemy of Mogus,
Okay.
and Alcides is in the party. Um, I imagine he'd be being watched. Even though I know Alcides worships Heliod, it seems to be more than Iroas. I imagine Iroas is throughout the Acroian culture, but some Iroan, some piety there. Um, and make note of that to share with the other party so they get theirs. Uh,
He's starting to worship Heliod less and less because Heliod isn't really doing much.
yeah. Didn't I give you a shit ton of Heliod? I gave you like five after coming back from.
Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
like the one time this entire time. But like our Rose has been looking down on all these battles, like, you know what? Good job.
It's probably
And
because
that's why
Elliot is mad preoccupied right now.
I
Yeah,
know.
he's at war with Porphyros right now. That's another story.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like when he 1v1 Thanos and was like, all right, Heliod, this is literally your guy. What do you want done? Nothing? All right, cool. Not doing anything. He lives.
um, and so we will begin today as you are standing in the basin of, as you've kind of walked down uh, into the entryway of the labyrinth. There are walls. It's different. It was it was an awe-inspiring view to come in from the top on the chariot, but now that you land there at the bottom, it's almost even more awe-inspiring, where the structure itself looms above you in these walls, and you're down at least a couple hundred feet below um, the top surface. I'd say about 100 feet below the surface of the ground here. Um, in this like valley that swoops down between like a canyon. Except for there's no river running through it. It's dry. It's desolate. Broken rock. The air is humid. But you can see pockmarks on the sides of these kind of mountains that almost seem like were sheared, like like by like godlike laser beams. Over the years, they still are a little bit rugged, and you can tell that there's been stairs carved into them that lead up to other levels. But what stands out mostly is a large opening to a cave on the left-hand side that just peers off into darkness, where Fielto brings you and says, "This is where most traverse if they are going into the labyrinths. Otherwise, you can. There are many ways to enter the labyrinths, but this is essentially the entryway." What I'll also say is that you get the feeling that Scophos long ago consisted largely of natural caverns connected by tunnels and underground passageways, and maybe at some point, maybe in the back, you know that the discovery of like precious metals and gemstones probably led to ancient humans or humanoids excavating, extending these tunnels, maybe even setting up kingdoms and so forth here. But we're setting up polis here. Um, and the result of those efforts saw a significant corner of Scophos transformed into a vast, sprawling network of passages. At some point, when the marauding tide of minotaurs appeared, all that was swept away. It's also easy to see that, unlike most polis, if you could even call this a polis, that the gods have had a hand in shaping and reshaping the landscape of Scophos. So now, literally, it is a series of maze structures within maze structures, extending 100 miles across on the surface, 100 feet up from the ground, and or from the top of the maze, and then from the above surface, and then down below, who knows how deep it goes, even underground. And so, before you all enter, or what I'll turn it over to you all, and just set the scene as you're standing there. And Calyx is middle of the day, maybe towards the end of the right after like afternoon is starting, so the sun is not directly overhead. You've got a little bit of the shadow being cast down in between the cavern structure. You've got this ghost-like giant floating with you that's kind of shrunken down a bit. Doth and Nizari are there with you, and I'll turn it over to see what you guys are doing.
So, shall we go in? Maze. Good. Are we just gonna stand out here? Or are we gonna go in?
I mean, wouldn't we be returning? Because we were already in the maze. We just got led to the entrance.
Yeah.
You were in the maze, but like above it, like and remember, so you're in like the like kind of pulling back the outer area of the maze. I almost like want to sketch this for you so I can make sure you guys understand like the kind of way I see this.
We weren't that deep in.
Yeah, it's like, well, it's like, I mean, this is super crude, so don't judge me for it.
Don't want to speak for Doth, but I would ask him if he wants to leave one of his scratched up copper coins like at the main entrance. But no, I don't have that capability, but I know he is the smart one who would.
You were gonna ask him to do what again?
To leave one of the coins that he can not really scry on, but locate object.
Got it. Okay. And this is not an exact representation, but let me see if I can. And we're in this place is not going to be it's going to be an abstract dungeon crawl in terms of like how we run it, but so don't think you're going to really be able to map it out specifically. But there will be different areas of it that you all find yourself in. But that's so bright, it's hard to see. I don't think I have. Okay, you see, I got this maze structure going here. Like every line you see, if you were flying over the top of it, bird's eye view, you can see those structures very easily. So it doesn't feel like much of a maze because you could fly over it and you could go from one side and follow it, looking down all the way to the other. But each one of those lines is like a canyon hall, and within those canyon halls, literally these are outside. They're outdoors, so they're not caverns, they're not caves, there are some rifts and things like that, but they're external. But in those areas, like here, like if you were to like walk up and you're walking through the cavern, you'd come to a point where there's like a cave, like say you find a cave that goes into that maze wall. So the maze walls have openings that go into the underground areas, and like if I use these little boxes, it would be like wherever you go in there, who knows what's in there? I could draw another maze in that box, right? And then within that box, there might be another structure that would be a maze. So they're not all necessarily mazes. You might just find a temple in one of these like areas, but think of it as like the maze walls have doors, because the maze walls are so large. They're so large for humans. Then there's kind of tunnels and caves that are more your size, that are, as you walk through it, that you come across. So where you were before, you kind of guys were like up on one of the cliffs, peering down over into the maze, but you weren't really like in it. You were like, you were on one of the bridge spanning between two of the maze walls. Does that make sense? Does that make it? It may just confuse it even more. I don't know.
If 3 is the top level, 1 is the maze, we were at like 2.
Yeah, say that.
Okay.
We were kind of in the wall, but not on top of it.
And still outside, still in between the canyons. So this structure goes into this wall, goes underground, where you can't fly above it like like you did like the last time you were in that one maze. You kind of like the walls were only so high. The maze is actually a tunnel, so there's no going above the top of it, right? It's just going in there and literally moving, room to room or space to space, kind of. Well, so these fealties is like, what else do you need from me? Why do you torture me? You had my eye, you've had my body. Why else make me stay in this form?
Because it's entertaining. And he like keeps poking him. Just going right through.
You're a bastard, you know that.
Oh, I'm well aware. Do you know where the little guy is? Wait, no, you saw him go in.
You said you're looking for someone. I didn't say I saw him, but what you described sounded like no human that would survive long here if he was probably not. I assume he's probably asleep.
Well, he's trained
So
by
he would have
that
come
guy.
through this path, and it would have probably gone that way because those halls lead to a little shanty town where humanoids are often bought for meats, for workers, Sometimes they are taken deeper to other levels if needed, but many of the Minotaurs have no need for humans, and so I know this way leads to the only establishment that I know of where there are other humanoids like you. You would do well to turn back. This place is a bloody battleground now that that Yinagal is here, and Mogus and those who worship the Minotaurs and the Hyena Men um, are at each other's throats.
So they are fighting each other, as well as fighting others.
As well. And the only one, and then there are the ones who have banded together. They are a smaller group, but those are the Amasidio clan. They are bloodshed, indiscriminate of any one god. You will find Amasidio who love to kill, to send those to their deaths, to send them to the Erebos. Those who love the battle and the bloodshed of Mogus, and those who have found newfound love for a new god of blood, Yinagal.
So you're saying Yinagal is a god?
Some believe so. I don't know. No one can say for sure. But his followers seem to speak as such.
Can you describe one of these knoll things for me?
You've seen them.
We've seen them?
You fought
Yeah,
him
Osharos.
in Orescos.
I never fought them.
Rescos.
You did. Unless you weren't there. Remember when we went, remember when we took the Bident to the king right before we went?
I wasn't there. Calix wasn't there.
Oh yeah, you weren't there.
Yeah, so they attacked the capital, and they fought off like a small group of them. The party did before you came. Yeah, because you hadn't come back yet. Then you met up with the party right when they got to the Sun Mirror, which was the lake.
So
Okay.
now C's will briefly describe what he remembers from them of pretty much bipedal hyena
Yes.
wielding crude weapons and armor.
And Calix is gonna go and just try and transform into what he's describing. Just to have a disguise.
Can I have a
History?
performance check from Calix to see?
$17.
Okay, so he does pretty good job of creating. Even Fieltes, the ghost floating, goes. That's what they look like, just about.
Okay.
You all are gonna die. You know that, right? This is quite foolish.
Well, apparently I've already died, so we're all good.
Now,
He hasn't, and I'm back. It works.
yeah, I guess dying isn't so bad once you release me.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. We're just gonna be sitting here having slumber parties every night.
We'll see about that. And so this kind of giant figure just like floating, this ghostly hunchback. His feet don't touch the ground.
Would he even look like he would have been able to go down this cavern when he was alive?
Hunched over, he could, but you could tell that he would like push his body against the walls. He'd essentially be kind of crawling, whereas you all could just walk through. It would be very difficult. It would be very uncomfortable, and it would be not something. So that's why if you get the feeling that he's not lying. That like he knows about it, he knows where he goes, but he's never really like navigated it completely.
Yeah. And now C's will make that comment. I was like, well, it doesn't seem like a bunch of minotaurs or anything as big as you would be down here, so I feel pretty safe.
Now he's bigger than a minotaur. I will say, just so you know, he was. If I had to put.
Oh yeah, he was very big. So I'm saying like just because
Yeah.
there shouldn't be too many things as big as he was.
Yeah, as big as him. Yeah. True.
You could have been a fine warrior.
Now he's our fine warrior.
Quit tormenting him.
No. He's mine. And he like wraps his arm around him.
When he says he could have been a fine warden, and he like looks at Alcides, like I'm surprised. Like it seems like he can't believe this. Like Aquarian soldier just said that, and he's like, "What? Are you patronizing me?"
Never.
He doesn't lie. I always lie.
Have things
I
changed?
never lie.
Has something changed in Akros? I don't understand. Look at me. How could I be a fine warrior?
You may not be accepted for your looks, for sure. But there has been lots of conflicts, and we've had to bolster ranks from other places. And especially during this most recent Iroan Games, there were many features, non-human, that participated and did well. So hopefully they're starting to see more, that there's more benefits than being so exclusive.
Clearly I have an issue raising my hand, my arm enough to bring my shield up proper, but I actually appreciate your words. I always wanted someone to acknowledge that I should have been one of you, at least accepted within society. I only find myself here because I had nowhere else to go. I've never felt the warmth of a lady. Never.
Neither. High five. Literally just forcing him to high five.
It's just like, and so he just, he's just like, well, at least my suffering is over. Almost. Peering into Calyx like with 8 eyes.
Don't worry, my suffering's just begun. You get used to it,
And I'll ask him, like, do you remember your family name? Because I would like to take your cape to them. Or at least to your family burial ground. Unless you wish to be buried here.
Grab his cape that was hanging there and bring it back up.
My family name is Meltos. I am not sure if my mother still lives, or if my father was shunned for having such a deformed son. But
said Meltos, though?
Meltos. But I would appreciate that. I can't even tell you. They may not even accept it. They didn't accept me. He looks through yellow teeth and. But
looks aren't everything. And Cal's gonna take off his mask as the disguise just disappears and put it right back on.
What
Sure, help.
Why do you get such joy in your torment? And I realize I have tormented those. I have no. I get it, but don't you understand? One day you will be me.
Oh, I already am. Where do you think all this comes from? You just accept it.
Alright. I will accept it. It is my fate. I'm sure I'll have much worse once I get to the underworld, so how much ever time I spend with you?
Well,
As far as Calyx isn't trying to convince him to swim down the river and be returned.
I do not want to come back like that.
I wouldn't either.
Well, are we just going to? Am I just going to float around here for the next uh, day? Or are we going to get going?
Let's get going, shall we?
Um, so as you step inside the halls, um, what you start to realize these tight. Actually, you find yourself in. Give me 1 second. Yeah, the cave system. So, being in the caves, right? Sorry, not caves, but tunnels. Um, there's different structures of the place. 1 second here. So in the tunnels, like they are, they range. Right now, it starts at about 10 feet wide, 10 feet ceilings. Um, but over the next couple hundred feet, it slowly starts to close in, even forcing little fealties to kind of shrink to fit your all size. Being a ghost, you can do that now. But um, the tunnels, they never follow a straight path for more than you know 20, 30 feet before they just keep switching back, changing and turning. Um, Multiple different passageways eventually spring up. Sometimes you're able to pick up on where others have traveled before you, footsteps, things like that. Um, every periodically moments you come to just little pockets that are just caves where nothing's there. Sometimes some bones, sometimes smatter of clothing. Um, but as we navigate Scophos, well, the way we're going to do this game-wise is that you will have to, between the both of you, you guys can help each other, so you both can make a check and just take advantage then, since there's only two of you. But someone would have to kind of be the lead navigator then, and there's a risk of getting lost. Someone can also be a mapper or map the location. Mapping makes it much easier for you to backtrack to locations that you have found before, or like similar to what Doc was maybe saying about dropping coins or things like that within the labyrinth or different areas. Um, Mapping doesn't will only require checks at certain times, but you can just say I'm mapping. But when you are mapping, you're spending so much time doing that, you do get disadvantage on like perception checks and things like that. So the navigator will probably give a survival check for every few hours of travel, to see if you're on course towards going. And a successful check, of course, is leading you closer to Erroneous. If that makes sense.
I'd say normally Doth would lead the way with his minotaurness, but I'll take the mantle.
Yep. And then, so essentially, what it is, because you're taking the mantle, but you guys can, since you're helping Calyx, you could both roll, and we could take the highest result. There can be a help, but actually, you can't help if you're mapping. So that's the big thing. Yeah. Are you mapping, or would you take up that, or
how deep are we? Or was it north of 500 feet, like of to the surface?
To say, I would say it was only up, like where you were at in that level is about a little over 100 feet from the surface, from where you, and you're like at the bottom of that 100 feet is a hole in the side of the wall that you're now navigating through. And I will just kind of rewind and say, so I was kind of describing you guys going through different passages, but you're still like very early into the travel, right? Like 20 minutes into this cavern, time, as you're kind of getting your bearings. I'm sure the characters are all together talking. Doth is sharing what he thinks about, MacGyvering this entire situation, trying to get any information you can. I am also will consider my difficulties based on, the party having the fealties with them, though he doesn't necessarily know the entire structure. Like, it's not like he knows like the back of his hand. So I guess, you can make your first survival check when you are ready.
I'd say relegate Doth to map making.
Yeah, in game, wise, when he's back, he'll probably be doing that.
Rolled a 13.
Okay.
Or 12 plus 1, because you said survival?
Yep.
Yep, yeah, 13.
All right. So, it's about 4 hours go by, and you could tell that from Aaron was like, I don't know this place, but I know it probably shouldn't have be 4 hours to where we're going. And eventually you walk into a room and you realize it's one of the earlier caves that you were in. And so you try to get back on course and begin traveling. Uh, and I'm gonna have to make another random encounter check since that first one, your first 4 hours went by with nothing, right? And so now you're trying to get back on course. X out those passages that you went down. I need another survival check.
Alex will mark down, or will mark with prestidigitation, just on the ground, just nope, big red X's, like. I don't know how long that was.
Not too much better. That's a 16.
16.
Are you rolling with advantage or is?
Wait, what was your last check?
13.
Oh, 13. Okay, 16 is much better. The 13 failed. The 16 might get you somewhere.
No, I thought the way we were doing is I would roll one, Calix would roll one.
Oh.
That'd be
You
like
were
how the
supposed to,
advantage
but then I have Calix mapping right now. And I'm not using players that are not here to do things that they
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's why
if
Calix
I'm
is
doing that, then I'm looking like Siljan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we can always say it is, but I don't want to give things like it just makes it. It's like saying like if somebody's not here, they can just cast Cure Wounds every time you guys take damage. We'll have to you guys are a two-man party essentially in this particular episode. And what I'll do is if we have combat or things like that, maybe there are external creatures in the scene that Doth and Nazari are fighting, kind of like, but camera almost think of a story-wise cameras pushed on YouTube kind of deal.
Yeah, even with advantage, still 16.
16. Okay. So this time, as you're and crazy as Alcides, you're human, so you're blind here. There's no phosphorescent glowing coming off these walls. This place is pitch black. Calix, I think you have dark vision, so you're helping.
No, I don't have dark vision.
Oh, you guys are just.
I do have a bird that does have dark vision.
Okay.
I'm just giving you looking through the bird's eye, just sitting on top.
That's where I'll use. Do satyrs have it? So that means because
Nazari has magical dark vision. Yeah.
Yes, magical. Okay, so I'll use Nazari. That's where I'll allow Nazari to help you see and Doth to kind of be using it, and then Alcides is using more of his tactics of the what he knows about being a soldier in the land and to
walk, tink. That's a wall.
Yeah, that's all. Kind of move
wall.
it. Eventually, you all travel now for another 2 hours goes by, and you are in a very tight, passageway that opens up. And when it opens up, there are there's a path to your left and there's a path to your right, but you're in for the first time. If anybody who's claustrophobic, these hours have passed very intensely, where you just feel like you just got walls on the side of you, and now at least you've got a cave here. It's a bit muggy. The air is kind of muggy and dry. I mean, more like humid, so there's some moisture, but it's not there's no dripping of waters off. There's no there's some stalactites in the ceiling, but very hard to see. I don't know if Alcides would be comfortable being led, or would he eventually would he and Calix strike up because it's one thing to be led by the party in the darkness, but if I was a human, I would probably walk around with my own torch, But
yeah, I was about to say if I would have known it was going to be super dark, I would have lit up a torch pretty soon.
Okay, so then you have a torch. Yeah, I imagine there's no way you go for hours without a torch on, right? Even if you're letting other people guide your path. And so at some point can I have a perception check from both of you?
Mine is at disadvantage, but since I'm seeing through my bird, it would just be straight roll, right? Or because the bird has keen hearing and sight.
18.
Oh, you're using the bird down here?
I'm using the bird to see.
To see,
because
okay.
I'm blind as a bat as well.
Well, I lit a torch, so that's no longer a
Oh. All right.
I mean, you can keep using that bird if you want, but you don't. Yeah, if he's got light now, casting down,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I'd still use the bird. He's good at seeing when I'm blind as a bat. So.
All right. So what'd you get, LCDs?
18.
Okay.
12. Or the bird got 12.
And so, as you are leading the way, as you walk into the cave and kind of look around, suddenly there is a cascading sound coming down from the ceiling, and as Alcides puts that, these bats, just bats just kind of flying down from the ceiling and heading out through all the different, basically there's 3 tunnels, one left, right, and then the one you're in, and suddenly these something, for a second there you're like, oh, those are just bats, but then you feel these something kind of, you feel tentacles slither, and you move, and these creatures are like slowly dropping, like quickly dropping down from the ceiling, and they, in the darkness and in with your torch, as you can see it very quickly, it looks like a brain with a beak and tentacles, like an octopus, but the bulbous area is a brain and it has a bird beak. And as it comes down, you see that several of them are already, or 2 of them, are already attacking Doth, and 2 attacking Doth, 1 is attacking Nazari. So they immediately kind of start going into war as you all are fighting. But roll initiative as these grells come down. And seem to be trying to get a meal.
And how long has it been since the fight?
Oh yeah, did you guys take it's been 6 hours.
6 hours? Okay.
Yeah.
So Hex has got 2 more hours on Hex. Unless they drop concentration.
Got it.
Oh, I thought I did good. I got 18. But
Okay.
These creatures sound like the things in Elden Ring. There's like the land octopuses.
gosh.
Yeah. Let me add. I think, to be honest, it's being freaking weird today. I cannot adjust. Okay, I don't know why.
Watsy.
They're
doing it.
It is already broken.
D&D Beyond works pretty well for me. So,
no, it normally does work well for me as well. What was your initiatives? And did you guys use any hit dice to over the past, or did you take an hour rest before coming in, or?
did we?
Yeah.
Your call
Yeah.
allow you to say you did if you.
Yeah. Well, it's been light activity. Or
Yeah. Well, I will say that crawling these dungeons is probably not the lightest of activity, as it is
okay.
extremely, you have to focus, so you're not just getting health back from doing that. But I'll say between that fight and talking and standing, going over to that would be the light activity. Heading over all the way back to the beginning of the labyrinth would be that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna roll 3 hit die. 23.
Nice. So CD's got a 23, and a Calyx got what? Alright, whatever so I'm gonna take, since with Calyx dropped off screen, I'm gonna take a quick 2-minute break because I want to set up the miniatures really quick, so I'll be right back.
I'm really sorry about that. I live on the first floor, so I get a lot of weird people trying to come through my window. That's always fun.
What?
I'm at
What did you
College.
just say? Oh shit! Sorry.
You're good. So I live on the first floor of my apartment complex at Cal Poly State College. So you just get people who on a Saturday night are very, very intoxicated and
Wow,
just want to come through the window. So
bro.
you just
That
kind of have to be like, this is not a drive-through. Go away.
See, this is why I
Anyway,
would have a CCL. But trying to get that in California is a bitch, so.
and also trying to keep it on a college campus.
That's what a CCL is. It says you
Oh,
can still carry wherever, regardless.
yeah.
But do you want to
Unless it's
actually
like
shoot
a.
some drunk dude who's just passing through?
It was actually my extremely drunk girlfriend who's going to an apartment, or who's going to a Bastille concert tonight. Like I'm not a big fan of that. Plus D&D. So, but yeah, it was her, but it was her friend who came down and was like, "I'm gonna try and crawl through this window." It just so happened to be my apartment. Yeah. So,
That's crazy.
yeah. Anyways, sorry about that, but
Oh, you're good. It gave me a chance to. I'm just setting up quickly the scene.
perfect. Okay. No, she.
So it was actually kind of perfect.
All right, sweet.
You know what LCs can do once per long rest?
What?
Cast Daylight with Piety.
Yeah.
Also, I realize I can be using the Sunblade as a torch.
That's true. I was like, you don't use that sunblade that often.
Yeah.
Or I'm more just like focused on like what I'm gonna do because like now that I have sharpshooter, like I'm a math and science guy, so like I've figured out the numbers of like, okay, if it has a north AC of north of like 16 or something, then it's not good to use sharpshooter, and vice versa. And then if I have advantage, things change, and yeah. So I think I know what I'm gonna do for this fight because I have blink and I kind of want to use that, especially if I have a concentration spell up already.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna be using the Sunblade instead of a torch.
Yeah. Plus, it's like cooler. So
Yeah.
Cooler than a spear. How often do you really throw that spear?
Quite a bit, actually.
So now that I think about it, yeah.
And I don't even use the magical spear I have.
Yeah.
I've been using just my regular old spear despite having a spear +1 and a Sunblade.
I've changed up my melee plan. A longsword to 2 twin scimitars. But which for hexblade's actually really good because you have all the stuff that happens when you hit. So we were fighting squid beak things, brain squid, whatever thing. Just mind flayer snakes. That's pretty much what it is, right?
And Callus, what did you get for initiative?
18. I was coming in.
I'm gonna use this moment to take a quick bathroom run too, and we'll get back to it. So.
I'm gonna do that.
Same.
but also LCDs. If you think you're, or if we, yeah, this isn't gonna help. That wouldn't help too much. My freedom of movement, if you wanna, if you need that for some reason, if you're just really getting grappled.
Oh, those look lovely. Also, just realized the Sunblade is awesome against any creature that has sunlight sensitivity because it does say it is producing sunlight. Wonder when these things are going to show up in our Dragon Heist campaign.
Alright, I just sent a picture of what they look like up close. Alright, so you guys did roll pretty high, but this is they get a surprise round as the two that are coming down. As you feel that slithering of those tentacles, they reach out and strike. So one of them strikes towards Alcides. Not going to hit. As the other one strikes towards Alcides, another tentacle as it's coming down. It's like these things are hovering, and they were coming down off the ceiling, and you can tell that's why the bats flew away, revealing because they were probably nestled up at the top too and dropped down. Probably even snatching up some of those bats as they descended. Second attack with tentacles is not going to work, and then it will attack one more time with its beak. No, so Alcides, you quickly turn and defend, shield the radiant blade glowing, kind of like batting this thing away immediately. The other creature attacks. Attacks are returned for 12. One of the tentacles.
That's not good. That's 12's not gonna hit. You gotta be better than that.
18. Second tentacle.
Yeah, that'll hit.
So you get slapped by one of the tentacles, and it like wraps around your wrist, and then another one kind of like wraps around your waist. You start to feel as you take. The tentacles have little pines or like little needles on them. So you feel those piercing as they start to kind of wrap and get tighter on you. Wow, you only took 3 as you're like trying to wrestle away. Take 3 piercing damage, but I need a con save from you.
And don't forget to add 4 to that.
Dirty 20 if you have 4, and then for the concentration for Hex.
Okay.
That 1. Okay, so right. Hex dropped.
Okay.
But dirty 20 for the.
Your skin immediately begins to kind of perspire as you can tell whatever these pines are injecting. You can tell some's being injected, but your body is fighting it back. You're too worried to think about what kind of poison may be in you, as you are clearly just trying to get out of this. You are though, even though you're not poisoned, you only took the 3 damage. You are grappled by this, and the ceilings they came down 30 feet, so. About 20 feet. So, okay. So they kind of grab you, and they kind of your feet start lifting off the ground as you are grappled and restrained.
Okay.
And so yeah. Wait, hold on. 2. So with 10 more speed, the creature lifts you up 10 feet off the ground. So it's now like hovering right there. That will end the creature's turn, the first surprise round. So now it's the top of the first regular round. Alcides, you are up. I'm gonna grab some flying things, but I can still hear you all.
Cool. So if there's one 10 feet above, I'm like, can you handle this? Or can you handle that one?
He's like, Callus is gonna yell. He's like, I can get out of this.
Okay. As soon as I'm done with this one, I'll turn to that one.
Okay,
I'm just gonna
I'll probably hit the one that you're fighting too.
Oof. Yeah, just 2 attacks with the Sunblade towards the one right in front of me. Does a 18 plus 8.
That does hit.
Yeah, does a 31 hit?
Yes.
And then does a 23 hit?
They both hit.
You.
As you can see, they kind of move. They almost move like they're jellyfish in like, but even though there's no water, right, in this atmosphere, they kind of have some kind of arcane way of floating. And so with that, they seem pretty simple to hit because they don't move very quickly. So other than their tentacles, but their bodies, their bulbous heads seem to be easy to strike out and connect with. So I'm gonna just go ahead and roll your damage.
14 and 10, so 24 radiant damage total.
Alright. 24 total damage?
Yep.
Radiant damage? So you slice into one of those brains, slicing off a piece of it, a chunk of it, and a couple of tentacles with it, and the thing kind of makes a weird kind of wailing bird-like sound, but and it clearly has no eyes, but it seems to sense and know where all of you are, whether the fire's there, whether the light is there, but it doesn't seem afraid to continue to fight.
Bonus action, shove that thing 5 feet away from me.
Pushes it, and it gets thrown back 5 feet. Doth and and Nizari are doing their own thing, fighting back and trying to kill the ones that they're fighting. So and then is that in your turn?
Yep.
All right. So we move to Calyx.
All right. First thing I'm gonna do, I'm being grappled. I'm gonna cast Blink on myself.
Okay.
So at the end of my turn, I hopefully 50-50 shot I blink out. And then I'm gonna Hexblade's Curse, the one that's grappling me.
Okay. So blink allows you have to test for it, or
yeah. So roll a d20 on a 10 or on 11 or higher. I can vanish from I can vanish from this plane for until my round starts.
So you'll be gone
like
until next round.
Yeah. And then I can move like 10 feet or something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then I'm going to pass my turn and be like, peace, bitches, and I'm still here.
So unfortunately, he's like, no! he phases and things like still holding on.
I fade in and out to the same spot. Oh, this isn't where I want to be.
Drops right back in. And you see like the beak open, like reaching in there trying to bite you. Calyx, is that ends your turn? The one that is holding you. Actually, I should go in the order I went before. So the first one will be the one that tries to go back towards Alcides, and will attack with its beak. I mean, with its tentacles first, which is another no-go. 17. I know that does. I don't think that hits your AC. Is
nope.
20. 20.
20.
Okay. So then he's going to strike out again. Tentacles moving here and there. Some of them already gone. For 16, no-go, and then the beak lashes forward with scores at 22 on the beak, so it's like kind of like a moment as you move, it kind of like doesn't grapple you, but it kind of pulls you in for a moment and it just pecks the side of your shoulder before you kind of continue the dance.
Kind of smack the tentacles away from my shield, and it takes out of me and just go in for the arm.
Yep. 7 points of piercing damage there. Then another one will descend down from the ceiling, continue the one that was, and hover down and attack like right above Alcides' tentacle attack. 15 is not going to do it. Another tentacle attack. Nope. And then beak. Nope. So Alcides is just one-man army fighting these things off of him. The one,
It's like being torn apart in the background.
so the one that is attacking or holding on to Calyx gets advantage on its strikes. So for tentacles, ooh, that was almost a nat 20. So good thing it didn't. So 18 does hit on the first tentacle strike.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, to speed this up, I'm gonna roll these real life, so I don't have to keep rolling them separately. Another tentacle strike.
17 is the number to beat.
17 hits. The first one hits, so then the second one is gonna hit as well for 18, and then the beak strike is a nat 20. So all three of those hit.
Don't worry, you got your Hexblade curse on it. I just need to kill it.
Yep, that's first thing. Yeah, but I should be able to escape.
So what you feel is the tentacles are just, it's not that they're lashing, but they're just getting tighter, and they're hurting. You also need to give me a for both tentacles. I need a con save, as low as it is, but it's not a very difficult one to beat.
Is he within 10 feet of me still?
11.
Yes.
Cool.
Oh, so how much do I get added onto it?
+4.
Okay, the lowest one I got is 15.
15. So lowest. So you roll twice.
Yeah, so I got a 19 and then 11, and then +4 is.
Okay, so that was advantage, right, for the first one.
That wasn't an advantage. Those were
two separate rolls. Okay, so you're good as long as they were above 11. So then you took from both of them. You took a total of 13 piercing damage, and then from the bite, which was the nat 20, you'll take. Rolling on D&D Beyond, so of course it's slow. If I can get to the dice first, I will. It's freezing up, so I'm just gonna roll. $12 piercing damage.
12?
Yeah, only 12. I know. Yeah, 4d4. Plus.
Oh. Okay.
And then the creature will fly up another. It will fly up all the way to the ceiling, so up 20 feet, and like hover at the ceiling. And it's starting.
How far am I up in the sky?
You're 30 feet up.
Okay, that's gonna hurt.
That ends those monsters' turns. So with Doth fighting off their monsters, still they kill one, another one shows up, keeping them kind of preoccupied. Alcides, you are back up, trying to help.
Is the other one 5 feet away from me? The one that was above me?
Yes, that one is still right there above you. So they went up, but that one is still right there. So that's now what it really looks like.
Cool. And he said he's 30 feet away, so that works great for me. I'm going to cast my one bard spell of Thunder Wave.
Okay.
So con save 15.
Some nights it works just fine. Okay, I fail.
Both of them?
Both of them? Sorry, for both creatures?
Yep, because they're both within 15 feet.
Okay, so the top one, the one that you're fighting here. So So these two, the one above you, I'm going to choose to pass. The one that you're fighting right in front of you, I'm going to choose to fail because the one above you got a 19. The one right in front of you got like a 3.
Cool. Alright, so that'll be
So what happens to them?
That'll be 14 thunder damage.
The one in front of you, that's the one you had already hit. So yep, 14. And that one gets moved, right?
Yep, gets moved 10 feet away from me.
Yep.
And then
Blast goes out.
on a failed save, it takes 7.
Okay.
So
In
one
addition
above
to
me.
that 14 that you just said?
Yeah.
Okay, so
no, only takes 7 thunder damage.
okay. I'm confused because I just gave it 14 points of damage. Is that with the extra 7, or it takes another 7? Is what you're saying?
No, so if it failed the save, it takes 14 damage.
Yes.
If it passed the
Oh,
save,
but it takes 7. Yeah, yeah. So then the other one took 7. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one above 7 damage. Got it. Okay. Fight continues. Looks like. I don't know if you want to pivot or move anywhere. This is essentially room is kind of a dome structure. At 30 feet is like this is where the ceiling is. So like it's almost like trying to. It's like kind of trying to prone Calyx against the ceiling and like feed on it and just like peck. He's like just pecking. Each bite is just like slowly eating the flesh, and then the poison is trying to seep in. Calyx is clearly dead and it's not working, but so it's good. And then there's these 2 passageways, of course, that lead deeper, but those is only if you're gonna run. So that's pretty much just so you can kind of see the scene. And you can tell that Doth and Nazari are starting to get a handle on their situation.
My bonus action, shove the one that's above me 5 feet away.
Shove. Bonus action shove, so I gotta make it a strength check.
Nope, there's no save for it.
There's no save? Alright.
Yeah.
5 feet away. Okay. And then we go to Calyx.
Okay. He's gonna be like, fuck Phoenix, all this fucking magic. And he's gonna use Trickster's Escape to cast Freedom of Movement on himself.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna spend 5 feet to magically escape a non-magical restraint.
Okay.
And I've escaped.
So I know for future, can you just, I know because you guys know the spells back, can you tell me how it works? Just,
so you touch a willing creature.
Mhm.
For the duration, the target's movement is unaffected by difficult terrain, and spells that other magical effects neither can reduce the target's speed nor cause the target to be paralyzed or restrained.
Okay.
The target can also spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles or a creature that has grappled.
Got it.
Finally, the main reason why I took it, being underwater doesn't impose disadvantage or doesn't impose penalties for the target's movement or attacks.
Okay. All right. So where does he
It is
go?
a 4th level spell, so it's,
Yep.
but yeah, free Trickster's Escape, free movement, just move out of there 5 feet, and now I'm plummeting to the ground.
Which would essentially happen immediately.
Yeah.
So you know, I with falls, I can get you to try to like break it, like we might be able to land. You're not the most dexterous necessary person, but you want to give me a dex save?
Yeah, sure.
Hey, if you land within 5 feet of me, if it's a dex save.
5.
Oh shit! Damn it!
What?
His arm is missing. I don't know where it broke.
It's
I hate
all
about
good.
printed minis, man. Over time, they just like looking at Calyx and like his left arm is.
It's all good. It's
It
fitting.
was there earlier.
It's fitting for him.
I'll have to find
You know,
it.
he probably lost his left arm eventually.
So he lands. Okay, what'd you get?
5.
A 5. Okay, so it will be.
With the +4.
+4 is 9. I don't think that's gonna help.
All right, I'll roll these. So fun.
Could I
Nine,
spend my reaction?
9 bludgeoning as he's able to kind of catch himself but stumble, but you know that pain kind of
Just
rushes.
kind of land front on his face.
Yeah.
Use half my movement to stand up from prone.
Oh
And
wow!
then-
I rolled, like it's so funny. Like D&D Beyond, I hit the button. It took forever, so I already rolled and gave you the damage. But it finally rolled and it pushed out 3 6s. So 6 6 of 18 points of damage. You got lucky there.
Freaking Wizards of the Coast. They don't like my character. And then I'm gonna move like 15 feet away, 15 feet away, just kind of running away.
Well, also you're prone.
Oh
You,
well,
you didn't pass, or does it keep you from being prone? Just
no, so I spent half of my movement to stand up, and then
gotcha, got it. Yeah,
or it would be 10 feet.
that makes sense. And then
Now
you're
you'd have
gonna
15 because you're within 10 feet of me.
yeah. And where are you moving?
Oh, okay, there you go.
And where you,
Towards Alcides actually.
so cities just kind of back to back.
Yep. And then and then he's like, okay, come on, finally, fucking work. And poof, he's gone.
Okay.
And I'll see his
Just,
comments. You look
you
like
can
you're
just leave
handling
him
this
there,
very well.
Like, ha. And like he's just an ethereal ghost in the ethereal plane, kind of around Alcides, and just like, ha, ha, ha. But in the meantime, he's drawing his bow, and ready to.
The creature, confused, one of them kind of comes back down, floats down to the level of Alcides. He kind of and will attack. The one that was above him, or 18 and a nope. Both tentacle attacks for a beak attack. Another nope. The other one, that's going to be no, and one tentacle attack for 22.
Yep.
So it'll take D10. 7 piercing damage. You are restrained, Alcides, but you give me a Constitution save.
Let's see. That'll be 10 plus 6, so 16.
Okay, so you're good there, and then it just moves you up 15 feet off the ground because it came down 15, and it just like picks you up. So it's like you're right there. Just a glowing sword. The other one floats upwards, and the other one here. So pretty much they all just kind of converge, kind of swim in like tentacle creatures. Like imagine they almost like when they move through the air, they kind of look like the things the tentacle creatures in Matrix in terms of the way they move. And they just kind of like swim up to him like jellyfish.
That's awesome.
So these two. I'll just roll these all together. So two of these, I'll just color or coordinate which ones are tentacles, and this one will be so I can roll all three at the same time. This one will be my beak. So another tentacle strike. That will hit because this is 19 plus 4. You do get an advantage, so that one will get to reroll. Another tentacle strike. Jeez. Beak that misses, and then both of the beaks miss. So another two tentacle strikes. So 2 more con saves, and I'll just roll out the damage. And then I have 1 more to attack after that. So
18 and 19 for the con saves.
nice, you're all good. 19 points.
Flexes for the poison.
19 points of piercing damage total on those. They roll pretty high. And then the last one is lashing out. 2 double for rolling an advantage. 2 nat 20s on that first one. So, jeez. The other tentacle does not hit at all. Weird. 2 nat 20s and then 2 7s. So I rolled double 20s, double 7s on those tentacles. And then on the beak, nothing on the beak. So the nat 20 stands on the tentacle strike, and that will be 2d10.
Am I able to make it attacks while restrained, or
You can at disadvantage.
okay?
Still, even with all that, 11 points of piercing damage. So even being mobbed here, Alcides is still holding his own. He's starting to get bloody. He starts to see scratches and stuff on his body as they're all reaching in, and it's like a feeding frenzy as they're all trying to get through his breastplate and his armor to find the soft parts to get to the flesh. As Doth has just killed one, as in he's just carved through another one, but one jumps in the way. Nazaric is able to run away from the one he's fighting, and they're like, we're here, casting, doing their whole thing. We're at the top. The third
And
one.
then I rolled a 13 for the con save. the last attack that hit.
Okay, you're good there as well. And yeah, so yeah, you when you're turning, you either use your action to try to break free, or you just attack at disadvantage if you're, Alcides, you are up.
Yeah, I'm just gonna attack at disadvantage. So first, I'm gonna attack the one that's actually grappling me.
Yep.
18 to hit.
All right, that will hit.
And I'm gonna pump a first level smite into that. So rolling 3d8 radiant. Plus 7, 23 radiant damage.
Takes it. You can tell that the creature is getting like weakened, but still holding on. Maybe these things haven't eaten in a while, or maybe it's the bloodlust of Scophos. Any normal creature should be running, but they continue.
Yep. Second attack at disadvantage. Dirty 20 to hit.
Okay, that's gonna hit.
Also gonna pump a first level smite into that, just because I'm trying to get these things off me.
Yep.
I'm too surrounded. 7, 3, 4, 14 plus 7. That'll be 21 radiant damage.
Takes it. So as you slice the tentacles clean off the one that's holding you, and your radiant blade jams into the brain part of it, splitting right through the beak and bursting it. You you feel the tentacles let loose, and you're like about to fall from the ropes as you feel the other ones kind of like pull you in, just like that one letting go. The other one is like, I still got him. This one is gone. The one that was pulling you up has died. Oh, it's always scary when Alcides falls because his goddamn spear. It likes all the time. So you are still grappled, but you did kill one.
So multiple creatures can grapple at the same time?
The other creature would have... I'm going to rule it as yes, because you were grappled by one. The other one came in and got 2 nat 20s. I'm going to give him a grapple for that. 2 nat 20s.
That's fine. I mean, it makes sense that these sorts of creatures
It's not like you're wrestling a guy and you break free and another guy grabs you. It's like there's just tentacles all around you, just waiting for a moment to lash out. So yeah, that was my idea. Was like I gave it that. I know you can't, but I imagine in this situation, they're all kind of wrapped around you. And then the 2 nat 20s.
Yeah, it makes sense for creatures like this to be able to do that.
Yeah. So, but the one, I will say the one that's holding you is the weakest, is the one that you had pushed back. You've given that one a lot of damage. You can tell this is the one that was holding. So this is the one that's holding you now, and that's the weakest one. Because the other one was just kind of descending down. And that one doesn't have a grapple on you. It is attacked, but it didn't really get much. We are on Calyx, so I imagine don't you come back now, or do you not?
I poof back, and I'm like, okay, well, all right. And
you pick back in the same spot where you left?
I can. I'm gonna go 10 feet, or you can show up like within 10 feet of the spot that you showed up. I'm gonna go like 10 feet away. Just kind of taking the run away and approach.
Okay.
But I'm gonna cast Hex on the one that I have Hexblade's Curse on.
Yep. So Hexblade Curse on the one that has Alcides.
Or
one above me.
The one above.
The one above.
Okay, got it. You got it.
And then I'm gonna take 2 attacks, no sharpshoot.
All right, you got it.
25 and a dirty 20.
Both hit.
All right. 31 damage total to the one guy.
How do you like straight through the mouth?
Just pull the 2 arrows back, hit right in the beak that was like about to eat
I
me.
hate how strong your arrow is. It is stupid.
Mine? Oh,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
I mean, it's
And then pulling
realistic.
the
Like
other arrow
arrows are
back
fucking.
and shoot it.
Oh yeah, of course.
Shoot it right at the other arrow, dissipating that one, and just corrupting that in necrotic energy from the hex.
It like bursts into a bunch of bits as it rains down. All right.
And then let's see if I disappear. He's like, I did that good. 18, poof, gone.
Gone again. Nice.
Mm-hmm. He's just gonna like just cast minor illusion, like make some popcorn as he's watching. You know?
This is now killed. This only leaves Alex. There's only one left. The one grill that's there will attack. And it's Alcides' turn again. Let's see. So the multiple tentacles at advantage. 21, so one of them does hit. Another one, the other tentacles does not. And the beak to feed on you does not. So just another con save, and probably a little bit more damage to survive maybe one more round, which I don't think nothing like this can kill you. Get 6 piercing damage and still grappled. Other than that, you're up.
And that'll be a 18 for the con save.
Okay, you're good.
Alrighty, just swing the Sunblade. With a 10 hit.
10 misses. Can't get a strike as it moves, and it's like trying to drag you towards the ceiling, even though you're like in the middle, and it's like you kind of like you cut off a stalagmite as it's like you and this thing are kind of twirling in the sky right now.
Cool. And then a 26 to hit.
That's gonna hit. Jeez. 26 on a disadvantage.
And that'll be. Oh wait, that's disadvantage.
Yeah. You shot the one. So, Calyx, you shot the one at the top, right? Or the one that was holding him?
The one that held me before.
Got it.
I shot that.
Okay.
Because I needed hit points.
So with disadvantage,
I kind of fucked up, but I'm gonna hold my stance because that one had more hit. With 31, that would have still been alive. It would have had a little bit of hit points left, and I treated it as the one that Calyx is holding. That Alcides is holding. So that's kind of why it was an automatic kill. So it's fine. I'm just gonna transfer those last little bits over to this monster, which I think will even out.
So with disadvantage, that's 17 to hit.
Okay.
For 6 plus 7, that'll be for 13 radiant.
Ooh, nice. It looks like if you could do one, maybe 2 more of those, depending on how hard you could hit, you could kill this thing as you're chopping off tentacles. And
can I do my bonus action shove towards the ground?
Can you shove in a grapple? I guess you could try. Yeah, it's like a wrestling move. Like you could try it. I would just say you would. Well, here's the thing. Since it automatically works, I don't think it would automatically work here because you're grappled. So I would treat it as like you get a bonus chance to make a shove. How you would normally make a action to shove somebody to push them prone. You would have to make that action here, where you'd have to test your athletics at disadvantage against its regular athletics. Now you're probably much stronger than this thing, so you can still do it, but I would make you do it at disadvantage, and then its strength regular check. See what happens.
That's fine.
You want to do that? So I'm rolling.
But disadvantage, that is 6 plus what I rolled on the dice, 11, so 17.
Okay, it rolled an 11 plus 2, you beat it. You will push it off of you. And it floats away 5, so it's like 5 feet off the ground as you shove it down below you.
Yeah. I wasn't really trying to break the grapple, I was just trying to...
Oh, you're trying to push it down towards the ground.
So I'm not
I see what you're trying to do.
So far.
Got it. For the sake of this, we're towards the end, I'm going to say you actually break 3 from the tentacles and push the thing away. It doesn't have much left, so it's not worth like being super stickler about it.
And then I fall.
Okay, but you are closer. Yeah, so I guess you both push 5, so you only come down 10 feet. So just give me a dex save to see if you can land on your feet.
Woo.
You're not. It's not. It won't be hard because you're not far off the ground.
He had a really good deck save. Since I took Shield Master, I get to add +2 to any deck save. With an 18 plus 8, that'll be 26.
So you stick the landing superhero landing
Like
style.
right on his shield, Captain America style.
Yeah. Flourish it, stand back up. Calyx, that puts you up.
Okay. I pop in. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna pop. Or how far would I be pop? Or could I pop in like right behind the grow?
Yep.
Okay.
Pulling
I'm gonna
the
pop
nothing
in,
personal kid.
walling out the 2 scimitars, or rise scimitar and the packed weapon scimitar, and go bonus action hex onto him, and then take 2 slices.
Nice. Okay. That hits.
For a 21 and a nat 1. So
Okay.
that's gonna be 6 plus. It's gonna be 9 damage total. Just wildly flinging these swords, like not used to them.
Okay.
But,
Nice. So it takes 9. All right. On the
Yeah.
first attack. Or
well, on both of the attacks.
on both attacks. So total of 9 damage.
Yeah. Well, I missed the first one. So.
Got it. That's why. Okay. So you're like cutting and you slice off another tentacle. At this point, the creature is looking terribly weak. It is. Give it a morale check. Okay. So it is going to attack first before moving, but it will like lash out at Alcides. Doesn't have him grappled anymore, so regular attacks. Nope.
And
On tentacles.
I'm gone, so I don't get any opportunity attacks.
Got it. 19 doesn't hit, and the beak. And then it moves 30 feet straight up towards the ceiling. Alcides can opportunity attack.
That'll be a 16
No hit.
for 15 radiant.
How do you do it?
Just, as it's trying to escape, just upward slice.
And it like you like straight up the brain side of it, like the beak and everything, and it just splits and it just peels open. This kind of gooey green ichor inside slams down on the ground. The tentacles are writhing before they all one by one. Each tentacle, like writhing cords, begins to stop moving. And at that moment, of course, Nazari and Doth run up like, oh, covered in the same ichor from the ones that they've killed. And there's like a bunch of them all laying around.
I'm sure if Jack Atlas was here, he'd want to cook these up and eat them.
You would. Doth confirms.
Gosh. And Calyx like shows back up and like, that is disgusting. From every way you eat it. That's why I don't eat food. It's, never trust Steve's cooking.
Anything
You
of
can make
note
some
we
good
can
sashimi out of this.
anything of note we can loot from these things?
Go ahead and give me a survival or a nature check. Give me a survival check to look over them.
17.
Okay. The brain material on them is not different from other creatures that you have seen. So that part of the material does look edible in terms of like if you ate cow brains or something like that. So not a ration, not something that you could, but something maybe if you were trying to conserve rations, you could take pieces of to eat over the next day before it starts to sour or go bad. The beaks could be harvested or used maybe for some type of makeshift spear, or just maybe used as collecting them for something. There is a gland that you're able to find that you think is right in the bottom area. It's like a little pouch. Many of them have all been busted, but when you're kind of picking through, the one that you killed, find one that's got like that gland is still consistent, and it seems to seep. You're not touching with your bare hands, but it seems to seep that poisonous material that it pumps through the tentacles, and then but that's really about it. So maybe using that gland to kind of try to collect the poison from it looks like it's possible. There are the little spines, but as the eventually they're going to dry out. The spines could be used for some, but like you could tell that over time they're not. It's not like they're going to be poisonous. But so I don't know what they. So you'd have to kind of like think of what you could maybe do with those things. But that's everything that you kind of harvest from the creature's body.
Yeah, just kind of.
After Alcides is done looking through, Calix is like looking through, like, how do these things see? And just like digging into it, just like looking for an eye.
So yeah, I mean, so what I guess what I'll say is, if you had a bottle, you could collect the poison and try to use it.
I was gonna cover my shield in the poison.
Okay.
So, this oh no, this poison needs to be injected. Still think contact enough with it.
Give me
could be pretty bad.
Give me a. I know you're not like the most alchemical, like scientific guy being a soldier, but maybe with Doth's help, with Doth kind of like thinking, like in the group talking about it, I can see it possible. So give me a survival check with the help of Calix. Calix, you'll just count as the help of the group. That's not like so. The highest was, and so yeah, give me an advantage. Advantage nature check to change it up. Alcides.
Still gotta be a dirty 20.
Okay, so what else will work is this will work through your next encounter. It won't last forever, but in your next encounter, whenever a creature, make note of this, whenever a creature hits, like fails to hit you, you can use a reaction to kind of shield bash them. They won't take any damage, but they'll take a Constitution save, and from the Constitution save. It'll be the same save as the creature here. So they'll take a DC 11 Constitution save, not much, but if they fail, and you'll be able to use it the whole next combat whenever you use a reaction. So if they fail, then they will be poisoned, and if poisoned in this manner, they'll be paralyzed. But they can repeat a saving throw at the end of every one of their turns, right, to break free. So you have a paralyzing shield for your next combat.
Okay, that's cool. That's sick.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't fail to save.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a super weak, because you guys always roll so high, but if Levi would have failed that, then you'd be paralyzed, and then they're just like holding you, and then they just eat you. They're pretty nasty if they can get you paralyzed, but I couldn't get one. Well, not one of them actually worked.
Wait, I think Blink would have still worked if I was paralyzed, but I would just I wouldn't have control, so I wouldn't be able to move. So it would just be like pop back again, just like.
Well, when you would go to the ethereal plane, you would still fall.
But when you blink, do you need to say it, or do you just need to think it? Do you just need to?
Well, I already cast a spell, and if they're paralyzed, then it's not a concentration spell, which confused me. But yeah, and then you don't have control over it. That's the best part about Link. You just don't get to choose when you go. You just go.
Right. So what next? What do they do? So now that they're all Hufflepuff, and I imagine that, everyone seems a bit. You guys took some damage, but you're alive.
More damage.
And these caverns, are there more of these things around here? Or are there somehow hunting that might come back? Is this a safe place to rest? I'm sure all these questions come to mind. Do we continue on? What happens if we rest here and something comes down one of these passages? Do we just try our hand to find someplace safer and continue?
I'm gonna cast. For anything, I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds at 2nd level on myself.
Okay.
Woo! Double 8, 20 hit points.
Nice.
And he's gonna summon the Spectre and the Mockingbird, and just be like, these two can keep watch. I kind of need a nap, if that's okay.
Sleeping in these environments and resting in these environments, I imagine, is extremely unnerving.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
I got someone who I've got a bird who I just met, and seems like a really nice guy. And I also have someone who just wants to kill me in my sleep. I'm very comfortable sleeping around that.
This is true. So are we taking a short rest? Is that what I'm hearing, or
Alcides, or
I will. So if we do that, there is a chance I will be rolling on the random encounter chart once again. Actually, first I'll be rolling to see if there is one. Then, if there is one, I'll be rolling to see what actually shows up. And there, it could be something mundane. It might even, but that's just how this will work. Until we...
For your random encounter, is randomly finding erroneous on that list?
I won't share that.
it is now.
Wouldn't that be great, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Just our first roll encounter. Oh, you find erroneous. Oh, cool. All right, we're out.
Oh sweet. Hey, what's up?
I just nat one my own account. Oh shit! You see me like, oh shit.
You're rolling
like
a
Erroneous just
D100,
walks out of the
and
dark.
you still not one. Okay. Alcides, you want to take a rest, or do you want to keep pushing on?
Definitely a short rest.
Yes.
Using that radiant light from that blade. I guess you all. So. Is there anything that's shared over that hour as you?
I'm just gonna have the Spectre and Mockingbird just kind of like look as lookouts, and we're all just like.
I'll roll
Shield
3
house?
hit dice for a short rest.
Okay.
There you go. 4.
13 plus 6. 19.
I like the way the little firelight glimmers off of Alcides' armor.
Yeah, that looks really cool.
Yeah, I miss the old miniature you had for Alcides, where he was like in like the spear throwing position.
Oh, the spear throwing pros. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that was.
I mean, I can go back to that guy. Just the spear's broken, and like, so he just looks like he has his hand up. It's just like his arm.
Just for the high five.
Yeah, he's just going for like a high five, like in every single combat.
Yeah.
I can use that one if you prefer that one. I just thought that one was always so over dramatic for like everything. It was just like he's always. But yeah, that's one that could be
I
used.
feel like mine's pretty over dramatic too. I look like The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I like
Decapitated.
I like yours as well. That kind of like Loki helmet is really cool.
Yeah. No, I saw that. I'm like, that's perfect. That is exactly what.
And the flaming blade.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Hey, but-
I just don't like that soldier's helmet.
Oh,
Like
the
the single crest. Yeah,
got it.
but other than that, aesthetic's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that I know, if I'll switch him out for the other one next time. That's fine. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the. So this one, I like because I like the way he's kind of tucked behind the shield. And like that kind of lean back stance. But I feel you. So,
Yeah, and that's why I took the shield master feat instead of adding 2 to charisma to get that +5 to all saves. So I was like, you know what? Being a shield man, that's what you do.
Ooh, just a little pop. Got him with a little pop. Yeah. So I think we're taking a short rest. Just asking about what is good about Erroneous? Why? Why are we saying like, dude, I'll follow you to ends of it, but why Erroneous?
Because we led him on this path.
We've led people on lots of paths.
It was his choice to go into danger, but we, or at least I, am directly responsible for this.
I'm directly responsible for a lot of shit, but you see me trying to pick it up?
No, and that is the problem.
Let's see that. That's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. Huh. He tried. He. My thought is, people's tried to mimic my life, and it doesn't work because I am amazing. And he was trying to mimic you, and that doesn't work because he's not you.
So Fieltes is sitting over there because we're coming up on the 7th hour. Seventh hour that he's been around. So you haven't taken. So it has to be till you take a long rest. Is that it?
Yeah, at the end, it's at the remains until the end of your next long rest.
So he's
like Quasimodo. What do you think?
I don't really give a shit, to be honest. I say you go all the way to the edge of the labyrinth. I say you find the Horn King and find your friend, because hopefully you meet the same fate that I have met. Not him. I actually like Alcides.
Yeah,
I actually hope he accomplishes. I hope you go back to hell, to be honest.
Like, understandable. Like, just like Alex, it's like, yeah, fair enough. Like,
then maybe I'll get another chance to have at you again without your strong friends at your side, flying around, buzzing like a gnat.
I was on the ground. I was on the ground when I killed you. I did use the chair. Hey, you know, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Speaking of, did we stick to that plan of like having Nikos land the horses and then like come back just periodically looking for you all at the entrance of the labyrinth?
Yeah, like
So, yeah.
I'd say around probably once a day.
Okay. So an hour goes by. You are safe. Nothing happens, and you hear some strange sounds over that hour. You know, skittering sometimes, and every now and then, maybe from somewhere deep in the cavern, maybe it's just the echoing, like a wail, where there'd be some kind of Eidolon or ghost, or maybe an actual person meeting their end. But overall, this place is clear. No bats, no girls come back. And there are essentially just two paths out of the cave. One to the left, one to the right, one back from which you came.
Where do you want to go?
I see he's gonna look left, look right, and then flip a coin.
And I'll say, why don't you give me a perception check really quickly here. Not that this may help much, but I know that sometimes just having it's like having random choices, you just pick one, but maybe this will allow you to decide maybe a little more information, so.
Yeah, that'll be a 19, because I know going towards where the bats fled to would probably be where the open air is at.
Correct.
Versus where they would go away from, which would be deeper into said cave.
Yeah. So the bats went, when they came down, some of them went back the way you were walking in, so they were going out that way, and then they were going out of the fork. They were going out to the right. So very few of them went down to the left.
Yeah, I'd say to the right.
To the right. Yeah. So, following
And I'm sure Doth shared that information about the bats.
Yeah. I like that. Makes sense. The bats would actually, it's just like,
they would know to flee from the danger and head towards a safer location.
Yes.
And they would also want to be flying, so they'd want to be like in the open air. And it's also getting closer to dark, so that's when they would actually be out there in the air hunting insects and stuff.
Kind of like taking notes, pretending like to understand. Yes.
Just in your normal form, just with some glasses at like where your nose would be. It's like, oh yeah.
With glasses and just like minor illusions at desk, just like taking notes. Yes, Professor John.
I'll give you advantage on your survival check, traveling this route, to see what happens over the next few hours as you continue on. Let's see what you get.
Woo! That'll only be a 16 because I only get a +1 to survival, but
Okay.
advantage avoided the nat 1. So
That's clutch. Been lost for several more hours, so let's see. As you travel, it is another 3 hours before you traveling down these dark caves gets a bit stuffier. Sometimes it's hard to breathe, but you notice actually as you continue on, you do the air lightens up. Like there is some kind of draft coming, but you clearly don't see any light. You eventually make it to a point where you walk out and there are these vaulted chambers that bristle with stalactites and stalagmites, and slowing your passage as you kind of wend your way across these uneven floors. Moving through the narrow passages, you enter a cavern that is dimly lit by phosphorescent fungi, and you are met with the sight of a dark metal tower perched on the edge of a cliff that drops away into just darkness. The square tower is 20 feet on each side, 20 feet on a side, and 30 feet high, with it's actually, I'm going to say 40 feet high. And there's a battlement on the top with these stone gargoyles but the stone gargoyles are perched on all four corners, but instead of being some kind of strange winged creature, they look like hoplite. They look like hoplites. Like they've got like wings. They do have the wings, but they don't look like grotesque. They almost look like soldiers, with spears out and shields perched on each of the four corners of this 40-foot, 20-foot wide, like box-like metal structure, a tower. And set in the middle of the wall facing you is a sturdy-looking door that is made of the same dark metal as the rest of the tower. That's what you see. I can kind of build it out, but what I'll do is I'll allow you guys roleplay a little bit, and then I'll set it up.
you suppose this is a temple or a fortress?
Not too sure. We can always go just send Tweedledum and Tweedledishit to check it out. And he's pointing at his bird and the specter. Like, this is, I just realized this is Calix's, like, ability to be a warlock patron. Or, like, the equivalent of a warlock patron.
Can your specter go through solid walls and stuff?
Mm-hmm. It just can't end its turn then. The bird can't though. And
I would say send your bird up, look above it, and I'm trying to remember his name.
Fielty's is that the hunchback or?
Yeah, Fielty's.
No, he's Quasimodo.
It's like, and see,
that is not in my name.
I'm not being an asshole to him. Like, Fielty's, I know it's not quite your choice, but would you be able to go through the door, through the wall, and see what's inside?
You could do that.
I guess I can do that. Okay, give me a second here. Actually, one second. Continue to role play amongst yourselves.
Wait, do you think Quasimodo could be my Erroneous?
Well, you see, Arronius doesn't want to kill me, as far as I know. I'm sure if I tried anything with Lady Delica, then yes, he would want to kill me, but that is his woman. Or the woman he is pursuing. I will not.
I feel like he's too good for Delicate at this point. Like, you know. Hey, he's somehow surviving in this labyrinth, hopefully. Probably. Maybe. Yeah. But what's you know?
He will certainly come out a better man
Oh
if
yes.
he has not been horribly traumatized by the events here. But
I
that is
saw
a
a brain
path.
like get chopped in half. If I hadn't seen fucked up shit beforehand, I'd be traumatized by now.
But
Like,
see,
isn't it a little bad that like this has kind of become like our normal routine of seeing like these grotesque things just getting decapitated and obliterated and
it is normal for us, but when I was a regular soldier, a lot less normal.
yeah.
Though the violence is still the same, unfortunately.
Oh gosh. What's the like with like a creepily amount of curiosity? Like, what's the most violent way that you've just ended somebody?
I would say there was that time in the arena with Wolverino where just bashed his head with a shield.
Solid. Unlike his head. But
Yes. I was not meaning to put that much force into it, but it happened. But apparently he can regenerate, so he is fine.
yeah, fine. Only a flesh wound.
Perhaps. But if you want to talk about combat and glory, a full phalanx formation taking on a small army is a sight to behold. Seeing waves of enemy run, charge, only to be met by a wall of shields and spears, and immediately stopped.
It seems like working together actually helps people.
Immensely.
Really?
I would say if all of you were replaced with the Corellan soldiers like me, we'd have a much better time.
Oh, come on, LC. Come on, Al. Come on. Haven't we've known each other long enough? Come on. It would have been half as fun. Like for three of you, just be very serious.
It would be very serious.
Yeah. Come on. Gotta throw a little fun in there, you know?
It is true to have fun, but when killing, you don't want to have too much fun, lest you become the monsters you're killing.
So we did kill like something like Samia like the first time we met.
Killed what?
We killed a return.
Alcidius was not actually there for the first session.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I showed up right outside the gate of Satessa for the second session. I did not kill the return.
I haven't killed a return yet. Emphasis on yet.
And I will allow you all, if you, provided you think your party would approve, you can use like non-combat. Like when we're non-combat, if there's like a spell that would help in a situation that one of your other party members uses that has, other than healing. I'm a stickler for healing.
Yeah.
Like, but if like it's something like that could help you with like when you're doing like puzzles and stuff like that, that's fine. Okay, so you've asked Fieltes to go in past them through the metal to see what he can find, and let's see. I want to make sure he can do that.
Yeah, it was the specter can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. It takes five force damage if it ends its turn inside an object. Also has sunlight sensitivity.
So him being constantly around my sunblade has been
Terrible.
annoying.
I didn't want to deal with him in combat, so I'm just like, you fought enough. Okay.
I'm trying to see if my channel divinity comes back on a short or a long rest, but it's not telling me.
I think it's short rest, but
Okay, yeah, he can enter. So if you see like what I have here, it's there's you guys are like here, and there's probably it's like more like 15 feet at an angle, maybe 10 feet if it was straight across, but it's like a jump. There's like a rift where the ground has moved up, where this thing is sitting, um, and it drops off like you can't tell how far it drops off below, just into darkness. So of course he can, being a spirit, I'll place him here. The large spirit will float over. He goes, oh, okay. Alcides, can when I am free from this, whatever this is, will you say a prayer for me to Iroas? And
I shall.
so the figure enters and moves around for a bit, and he's gone for a while. And while he's gone, I'm pretty much absorbing what he sees here. Okay. So,
Also, now on D&D Beyond, if you take a short rest, it actually asks you how many hit dice you want to use.
well, that's really cool.
So,
All right, so I'm rolling his investigation here.
just a just a d20 for your modifier.
Yep, just no modifier. Yep. And so 10 minutes goes by, and Fieltes kind of floats back. Can he communicate with you? Like from
Telepathically, no.
No, so he has to come back. Yeah, so he comes back. He goes, there are two floors leading up to the battlements, the battlement being the third floor. There are signs of where like someone was held up inside for protection. On the second floor, I found bones. I couldn't tell you humanoid, just a human that died there. I could tell tattered clothing, remnants of their rations, pouch, a few coins. Wouldn't be of much value to you. The first floor of the tower is an open room. There is a ladder affixed to the back wall that leads up through a trapdoor in the floor above. There is on the second floor. This is where I found the piles of bones, probably the former owner. This was an empty chamber that had a ladder affixed to the wall that climbed up to the adamantine door leading to the roof. I did notice it was very dark there, even though and what I noticed is the trapdoor had a word carved into it, Mimsy. Not sure what that means. And of course, as what you can see here, the battlements do have very large, foreboding-looking statue figures that you clearly see there.
Someone's probably holed up in there.
Um,
But no movement, no life, no nothing.
no, there is one dead body. The bones on the second floor. The coins inside, and the word Mimsy on the second floor leading to the battlement.
Okay. Please, you want to go check it out?
And what else is there? Yeah, that's.
I would say it has been a long day. I'm eager to find Erroneous, but if we all die, it won't help anything. We can't find him if we're dead. But maybe you can, Calix, but I don't think I can.
So what you want to do?
And you also notice, like, on the other side of this tower is essentially a wall. So, or like, this large cavernous opening. So, you don't see where it doesn't. At this point, it seems like this rift that's been created. You don't see where your journey continues. At this point, that this path dead ends in a weird way here. The caverns go up. They go up pretty high, almost like 60 feet. So there could be openings above, and the air feels a little bit fresher. So maybe that's where the bats escaped. This is where you find yourself.
Yeah, I'd say head inside and hopefully take a rest.
You will have to make a leap across, or some other way if you're using gear or something like that. But
I can.
I don't know who has fly or that kind of thing. But
Oh yeah, I have fly. Either fly or just teleport. But I feel like it'd be easier.
Can you cast it on other people, or?
I can cast it on 2 people, and then I can cast it on
know.
CDs and Doth, and they can take us over.
And I know Nazari can literally just teleport to any shadow, and I'm sure there's.
Nazari can definitely put
Yeah.
it.
So I'm gonna cast fly on.
Fly.
Cast fly, and then we'll move everything over.
We're gonna do that prisoner hold on you, like one of us on under an arm under each of your elbow, and just kind of fly you across.
It brings me back to good old times.
So you all make it over to the other side of here. And as you approach that front door, this fortress, this little mini fortress tower, like the door is like that is heavily fastened locked.
You want to fly to the top?
We can. Might as well. And Calix is just gonna have his like bird circling the tower, and just seeing through that as they kind of pick him up and move him around.
As long as the surface is at least, what is it? Not as long as it's 92 degrees, since Nazari is a satyr. I mean, goats can clear almost sheer surfaces, so.
If he does, what's he doing? Oh,
I was making a joke about goats. And
the
satyrs.
goat. Oh, the clip. He can just kind of like. So, is anybody trying to climb it, or are we just flying up, or are we just like hovering
I think we're
around?
flying up, and then
Just flying
I
up.
got the bird flying around us. Shit hits the fan.
And so we're gonna fly.
And if we do manage to get into combat, I would say piggyback on Doth and have him fly away so you can just bow from range. And
Yeah.
I can be up front.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just you two going up that are flying.
Or it's me, Doth, and LCD's going up. Oh shoot. Yeah. Guess Hex drops because fly is concentration.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a short rest, so
Well, yeah. Well, I was holding on to Hex because Hex can last up to 8 hours, but since I cast Fly, Hex will drop. Going into a fight with Hex up and 2 spell slots is pretty nice. But
So as you're flying up there, um, you notice the statues a little closer that are perched, and strong as they look, as you're flying, probably up higher. Uh, you can see the trap door in the top that probably leads into what Fieltes was saying. That leads into that second level that had the word on the inside of it carved Minzy. Um, and yeah, you see these statues perched around. So kind of, but nothing else is up there. Just like what he told you. Like, so he seems to be telling the truth. Like, there's nothing there. It's very clean and structural. What do you do? And how long can you fly?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay, so just a couple minutes. First kind of minute or two going by as you're surveying. Give me 1 second.
Don't think I'll ever get used to this magical flying.
Cool, right? Fancy little wings right there. You got the black mockingbird wings on them.
Yeah, it's your back. Your mock. Let me, since your mockingbird's flying around and your guys are getting a view, give me a investigation check of the area.
Investigation or perception?
Actually, let's go perception.
I'm just using religion because it has the same modifier as the bird. Bird can't see shit with a 9.
So it's very dark, and the bird is, even with those dark vision in here, and there's a little
just looking at the wall.
There's a little bit of that green kind of glow, but it's not much. And so the
Only
bird's not
16
seen.
for LCDs.
Okay. Yeah.
My perception is only a +1 because I did not take it as a skill.
What did you get, Calix?
Oh, well, Calix can't see because you see.
Oh, he's using the bird. Got it. But so he can fly. He has to see through. How does he fly and control himself if he has to see through the bird?
Well, he's not controlling himself. It's Doth and Alcides holding him.
Okay,
so.
got it. Okay, so the bird flying around. What with his glowing blade? I think what and maybe even Nazari calls out since he didn't go up. Nazari's looking down into the pit and like dancing around the shadows, and he realizes that the whatever's happened around here. Nazari calls out. He's like, I think this place, guys. I think however this fortress got here, it caused the rest of the area. Looks like it collapsed inward. And it looks like there's multiple other passages. If we want out of here, down, not up. That is, if you guys have found everything you want up there. Are we really trying to get into this place?
It might be a good place to rest.
Think he locks on it. He's like, yeah, does look pretty sturdy. Can I have an insight check from Calix? And it's gonna be a high one. You're gonna need to roll pretty
19?
high. Okay.
That's a natural 19, by the way. That's
Gonna be 22
Okay.
never mind.
because I got a 18 + 4.
Between all of you talking, between Doth at 19, I'm gonna add a little extras, like kind of the group looking around. Alcides realizes, along with Calix, that this structure is odd. It doesn't look like it was built here. It looks like it just magically appeared here. So the structure itself is kind of foreign in a weird way, like that. To just be in a cave like this, there's no other structures around it. So you do get the feeling that it's magical. You still don't know what it is, what it does, and it's locked, and there's no way in. And from Fialti's story, you get the idea that the bones inside were probably whoever used it to protect themselves, but but maybe they just died of just kind of being here for too long. Maybe something killed them. It does seem like this could be useful if you could figure out how to get in it and how to, it would be good. It would be useful shelter if you could actually get in. I think you all surmise that, but that's all. So that's what you kind of are able to take in from this. Or if you can't get in it, you continue on and go your and hopefully maybe figure out maybe come back for it later. But that's what you guys are seeing. And another minute has marched on, so we're going on like another 4 minutes here that you've been flying around.
I'm gonna land on the roof and see if the top doors unlocked.
Okay, so we all land on the roof.
No, I'd say you two stay there because those statues are sus. So
Okay.
All right. And so Alcides will try the door on the roof. Yes, I assume.
yep. Yeah.
And as he does, there is no handle. You notice there's like no door to actually pull it open. You can see where it is. It's smooth, that adamantine, dark metal. But as he just kind of like leans down and touches it, he hears, you all see the shifting as the statues turn and march on, take a step towards Alcides, notch their spear between, and all push in to strike. Now it's not a surprise at all, so roll initiative. Now he can, of course, if you wanted, could try to fly away. If he gets
Yep, that's
11.
Yep, just quickly. I rolled a 19 plus. Man, I'm rolling hot tonight.
Yeah.
So 21 for initiative. Also, those guards are assholes. I touched a door I wouldn't be able to get into anyway, and they still attack.
While I set up another encounter here really quickly.
And Doth has like a strength of a bajillion, so he's not too worried about carrying little Calyx. Something.
What'd you say?
Doth has a strength of like bajillion, so he wouldn't have any problem holding me up in the air, right?
He's holding you. Yeah, he doesn't have a problem with that because
I feel like Dolph would just be carrying you like by the scruff of your neck like a cat. Ugh.
Oh, let's go. Well, worst case scenario, I can just like lay my bow, like throw my bow down, so like I'm like holding onto the thing, just like my arms over, and he's just holding onto that.
Right. So, what did you guys get?
21.
21 for Alcides. Calyx.
11.
Okay. So Alcides and Calyx, you're both faster than the guards. Alcides, you start, followed by Calyx. What do you do?
Quickly looking around to see if any of them have like bows or spears to throw.
Nope, but they do have wings on their back.
Oh yeah. God about that detail. Yeah, just fly to the ground.
So you're flying down, out. Alright, so that would be, so, I mean, 10 feet out and then all the way down. Alright. So using most of your movement, then I take it you're just moving your movement to get away from them?
Yep.
It's my first time seeing Nazis move away from a fight.
Yeah.
These are living
Rose,
stone.
he's running away.
These are adamantite statues. I have no confidence. I'm sure Doth is interested in this metal. But
Actually, they have like ringlets of it on them, but they're not completely adamant. They're like a combination of it, like veins in it and stone. If that helps with any of your decision making. If that's any.
Arthur's probably like, whoa, we could probably melt them down to make a what's it called? Melt them down and make something out of it.
Calyx?
yeah, it's just
I'm just gonna scream. It's like, don't worry, we're running away. I didn't mean to touch your fortress. We're very sorry.
And they climb up onto they turn back, climb back onto the edge, but they don't leap off. They don't go after, and they just crouch back down.
Thank you. Very sorry about it. And he's just gonna spend his turn just trying to like, just we don't want to go in. You don't want us to go in. We're good.
look at the door. Be like, is there a way to open the door?
We could just break
So
it.
think of the, I'll say from your insight check. The last thing I'll share, and then I'll leave it all on you, arbitrary whatever you do. But the entire structure is is magic. Therefore, like think of it like a magic item.
This is Baron's entrance fortress. Was? I'm not too sure.
You said what? Someone just started up a very loud vehicle next to me, so I can barely hear.
Oh, it might be a Baron's entrance, or it's a something's instant fortress, or it's some sort of magical spell or whatever thing. But from what we heard, it's a good place to set up shop. But I don't think anything wants us to set up shop there.
So do you think there's no way to get inside?
Oh no, there's a way I could just teleport in, but I don't know how happy they would be with that.
So can your Spectre interact with things?
It can, I believe?
I was gonna say have him just float through and then just open the door from the other side.
Why didn't I think of that? Quasimodo, open the door.
I already tried that. The doors don't open.
See, I hire the best. You know, your guy Erroneous gets lost. Quasimodo over here.
I told you everything I saw inside.
Yeah, see, he told us everything. He's great. Thank you, Quasimodo.
Trapdoors going all the way up, one with a word carved on it, doors on the inside, but nothing open. Bones on the second floor.
What was that word again?
Mimsy. Mimsy.
I'm gonna touch the door and say Mimsy.
Okay. Give me a wisdom save.
Shit. Actually, wisdom save? Oh, wait. That's actually good. Paladins are proficient in that. Yeah, come on. Get. Yeah, that's a 19.
The door just swings open, and no, you don't feel any shock or you are, and now you're standing there in that kind of open area, 20 by 20 by 20 square room. It's kind of stuffy, like it feels like it's been trapped in for a while. There are little of course, that are just kind of the floor plan as described before. And then there's that ladder at the back wall that is going up to the second floor.
I'm gonna have the mockingbird circle around and just watching the statues, see how they react as I have my hand on Alcides' shoulder if we walk in.
Okay. So as you walk in and look around, a second here. So as you walk in, you all kind of look around. The door slams behind you. It's dark, but through the radiant blade of Alcides, you're able to look around and see. Do you go up to the second floor, or do you? I mean, so like I said, first floor looks like open room, ladder fixed to the back wall. And there's like some. It looks like there's like some old crates and things like that, or like not crates, but just like you see things that remnants that someone lived here. But most of it is like gone. Like if it was like their rations would have been dried up or powder, everything would be aged and have webs on it, that kind of thing.
So the rations and stuff weren't fully consumed; they aged away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's.
You hear no movement from above. It doesn't seem like the gargoyles are making any kind of like pivotal, movements or steps or anything like that.
They go upstairs and then cast not my channel divinity, but my good old, what is it? Pretty much lets me sense undead fiends and stuff.
Okay.
Divine sense, that's what it is.
Divine sense, yeah. And so as you when you first get up there on that second floor, you kind of pull yourself up. I see as your divine sense. You see the bones of the figure, kind of like wrapped. It kind of looks like an age-old leather, maybe like a cloak, mostly aged and tattered away. The bones themselves look like they've been here for some time. And as your divine sense, you then pick, and Nazari's like right behind you because he poops. He like tries to scare you as he jumps out of a shadow, and he's like, "Ha ha!" Because this room is like really dark, and it doesn't quite work. But then suddenly, dark hands reach out of the shadows and grab Nazari and like pull him back, and then you start to you sense the fiend in the room as the shadows start to shift around you, as one of them holding this little Nazari, and another spectral starts to kind of like move out of the shadows over you, like the shadows themselves are shifting as you roll for initiative yet again.
Do I, or is there like a change in like the temperature or anything that like, besides sight and hearing, is there any way that I could detect that anything's going on?
I mean, what do you mean by that? Like,
because I'm still in the bird's eye.
Oh, you're still flying around. No, you wouldn't hear anything. You would not.
Well, no, I'm in the building, but
but your bird. So you would hear the commotion of Nazari yelling,
okay,
and Alcides changing to battle.
All right.
Yeah, and I doubt he doesn't make any noise, right?
Yeah.
That's an 8 on the initiative roll.
Same.
Dang.
You definitely got a drop on us.
I knew it wouldn't be easy.
A lot of random encounters tonight. You guys got out of one after. No, this one's not quite random, but it's part of this. You guys got in there.
Maybe they want to talk. And is that structure from Warhammer?
It is. It is a structure.
Oh, it looks just like an instant fortress, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me grab a couple minis. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I was suspicious because there were rations left, but a body, and nothing else.
All right.
So either the body itself was an undead, or something else, because clearly the statues on the roof cannot open the door that's on the roof.
Yeah.
This is why I need to play smart characters, is I can deduce this shit.
See, that's why I need to play dumb characters, because I don't think of this shit.
Yeah. Alcides isn't dumb, though. I think he has a...
No.
What's his int? Yeah, he's got a 12 intelligence.
Yeah. Above average. Calyx is average. I was gonna make his wisdom a little bit higher and his intelligence even lower, but I just kind of wanted everything. I also wanted his wisdom to be low too, and I wanted his wisdom, intelligence, and strength to all be super low. So it just makes sense.
Yeah. If these things are affected by sunlight, though, my Sunblade is casting sunlight.
Yeah.
See, does it only add an extra D8 to undead? Yeah, only against undead. That's a shame. And he said these shadows were fiends.
Don't know what spell to use. I have one more spell slot, so should I just save that for Dimension Door if we really need to get the fuck out?
I mean, I already got my plan of use protection from good and evil on myself.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then casting daylight.
Yeah, I might just hang on to that spell. Maybe use it if they cast a spell for a counter spell. Or a Dimension Door.
Yeah. Pretty sure you can stay out of this for the most part.
Yeah.
20 AC, and then if they all have disadvantage to attack me.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Blink is a good option because if you're hard to hit, then they're gonna go after me.
Yeah, so just...
Yeah, I might go with that.
Plus, you're down a ladder, so trying to get up there in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, if I'm down there.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm with you. I'm right behind you. Because I've been watching the outside through Bird.
Now,
so,
if you are next to me, I could cast Crusader's Mantle instead.
Crusader.
Everyone gets an extra D4 radiant damage.
Do you have to stay?
To all attack. You have to be within 30 feet of me.
Yeah, no. You can if you want, but it's not gonna help that much.
Yeah.
Because my goal would be to run away. Unless we have melee Calyx for some reason.
I mean, it's all attacks.
Yeah, so it's 1d4.
Yep, whenever you hit with a weapon attack.
So that would be 1d4 plus 1d6 plus 8. 3 attacks around because dual wielding. Wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, but it is concentration. That's the only.
Yeah, but you're not going to get hit that much.
But I can't concentrate on 2 spells.
What other spell are you concentrating on?
I would want to concentrate on protection from good and evil because I would give them all a disadvantage to hit.
Yeah, go protection from good and evil. I'll cast blink. Yeah, that's good. And then if we clear this out, we might be able to rest here for a little while longer. And I don't know if we want to get rid of my specter yet, though. Because once we take that long rest, then the specter goes. But
I feel like this is where he was most useful
yeah.
because we wouldn't have had the word to open up the door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know if we can shrink it back down to be used later?
No. Well, it's not a normal one. It's kind of haunted. So.
Sunlight lasts an hour and it's non-concentration.
What's it called? Blink Blink and freedom of movement both last, or Blink only lasts a minute, but freedom of movement lasts an hour, and like and no concentration. That's the part that confuses me. Granted, we appreciate spell if it was concentration though.
Yeah, I love augmentation spells that aren't concentration.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there should be a feature that should allow you to concentrate on 2 spells at once, but
That gets busted really quickly.
It would just allow 1-person combos, like make it like a high level, like put a level cap on the feature itself.
Yeah. Even then, just having like, I'm trying to just look at my spell list and see what would be busted.
If Niv Mizzet can do it, anyone can do it. Just kidding. Niv Mizzet's a super intelligent magic dragon, so.
Shadow Memorial plus anything that gives extra damage. So just, or like, imagine greater invisibility plus, I don't know, hypnotic pattern, or other just big nuke spells, things like that. I don't know, I feel like that would get nuts.
Or just 2 damaging concentration spells like not scorching, right? Like,
I know, I can't think of it. You can't think of anything else off the top of your head.
I mean, haste and something else.
Oh yeah. Oh, haste plus shadow would be, or haste plus greater invisibility would be nuts. That's
That's why I want a potion of haste.
Yeah.
I wonder if a potion of haste would stack with haste, the spell.
No, because you're affected by 2 things with the same name.
Okay. Well, you can have a ring of protection and a cloak of protection on.
But yeah, but that's a ring of protection and a cloak of protection.
Yeah, and that's a potion of haste, and then just haste.
Well, doesn't it say that you're affected by the haste spell? Makes sense.
Probably.
A potion of speed. Yeah, you have the effect of the haste spell for 1 minute.
The effect of, but not. Quad movement, 2 bonus action attacks. Nah.
Well, no, it's not a bonus action attack. You just get 1 extra attack.
I know. So 2 extra actions.
Two extra actions. Just, oh my gosh. So your speed gets, so you're at 30 foot, you go to 60 feet, and you go to 120 feet. Just like that's your movement. And then if you dashed for all 3 of your actions, so you would quadruple. So you'd be running 480 feet in 6 seconds.
Now put that shit on a monk with mobile. No. I mean, Alcides' movement speed is 40 because of Oath of Glory.
Yeah, you'd
And
be
that's
running
why
at 300. You'd be running at 327. Wait, no. What? Divided by 6. Um, so that would be.
enlarge and haste at the same time. Because I am big, but I am fast.
You'd be running at 60 miles an hour, just with a normal 30-foot movement speed. So 5.
See, I would want to put all that shit on a 20th level fighter.
Yeah,
Just
no,
you get 4 attacks, to then 6 attacks, to then action surge for another 6 attacks. 12 attacks in 1 round. You are the anime character.
Put on a samurai fighter, just get advantage on all of them. Just gosh, that would be.
Lose 2 attacks, go paladin, smite all of them.
Speed that you would run out of spell slots.
Hey, but whatever you just fought is getting burst down. That is your get rid of the fucking Tarask quickly build.
At level 5, like fighting a Tarask is not that hard. Like Calyx could kill a Tarask eventually at level 5.
Well, can you fly long enough to do it?
Fly for 2 spell slots. So it'd be 10, so 20 minutes. So it'll be 200 rounds.
I was trying to detangle my headset, got all caught up in my
You're all good now.
seat. Okay. So one of the creatures kind of like snatches Nazari into the darkness, and so what I tried to depict here is the room is only 20 by 20 feet. So with the walls and everything, and the little slots in the side. So you pretty much just have, like, I know I don't have walls here, but the platform I have you on is all the space you have, other than like the space in the middle of the floor where you just climbed up from, right from the ladder.
Well, Calyx did not climb the ladder.
Well, no, I'm right behind him. So I think I did climb, or I did climb the ladder.
You climbed the ladder while blind.
Well,
you're blind, so you'll be downstairs with Doth.
Well, I was holding on to LCD.
How do you
while
yeah,
no, that's yeah.
It doesn't make you back you up the goddamn ladder.
Holding on to him. Yeah, never mind. I'm down.
You're like you're okay. You're right below. Alcides face this thing, and there's shadows around the room, except for when the shadows kind of dance with the light of your radiant blade. So there's still shadows, but the thing kind of reels away from them, trying to float up above you a bit. But there's not really much. It can kind of you can still strike it because there's only a high of a ceiling. But now it moves into shadow. It moves through. Rolling it. What did you get for LCDs?
8.
8. Okay.
And did you say this thing was a fiend?
It is a fiend. That's the only reason I told you, because you did divinity. That's the only reason you caught it. Yep, it is not a ghost, it's not a specter, but a type of fiend. Calyx?
8.
8.
Same as...
Wow. 8
yeah.
All around. That's crazy because the creature only got a 9, so it's just you couldn't even it's just hilarious. Yeah. So as it floats out, it flies at Alcides but goes through the wall, and then hands come out of the shadow behind him, but just kind of reaching and grasping at disadvantage. But it's like you see the hands moving through the wall, through the shadows. 19 is not gonna hit. At disadvantage, another 19. And it will take a hide action. So you want to give me a perception check. Get advantage.
14 for perception.
All right. It will beat you on that as suddenly like it's just you're
Disappears into the shadows.
disappears into the shadows, disappears into the wall. Yep.
Cool.
As this happens, starting our round, you hear Nazari like in the shadows, like no, help! You like hear his voice kind of like traveling in the shadows, almost like this thing has him. And then he goes quiet, and then another one springs out of the dark down below, and trying to attack Calyx. So actually, I don't know why I did this. Yeah, it's just regular attacks here for 22 in that first one. Jeez. Second attack. Oh. So only the 22 is going to land. For 7 psychic damage. Wait.
Okay. As Callus like takes the psychic damage, like his disguise is just like stop moving for a second.
Sorry, that should have been a little bit more. Sorry.
Okay.
Actually, no, it would have been that. It would have been. Let me reroll that. It would have been less than that. Hold on.
You're all good.
So it's the 7, just add 12. 12 total.
So how much damage total? I haven't put in
12.
12 total psychic damage.
Okay.
And it comes out of the wall. It attacks at you like violently, like a specter. And then it. See, I don't know where you're standing, so I imagine you're probably standing in the room. So I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Like I imagine, because it did say the ladder's at the back of the room, which is why Alcides would be at the back of the room. But you, let's say if you're standing in the middle and it comes out, then it would have to attack openly, which is why it doesn't get disadvantaged. But then it would have to move away and try to like go into the shadows. So it does get a bonus action to. It's not a disengage. It's just a hide action. So you can try to strike it if you want to use your reaction, but it is going to try to hide.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my reaction to pull out Rise Scimitar and go in for a slash.
Okay, and then after you give me that attack, give me a perception check.
16.
That's the hit.
Yep.
That will hit.
For solid 7 damage, and then perception.
Takes a 7.
For perception, a nat 20 for a total.
What
of
kind
20.
of damage is it? It's magic damage.
Magical slashing.
Magical slashing. Okay. And then what's the perception?
Nat 20.
Oh shit.
Or
So
20
it like
total.
slips into the wall, like into the corner, into the shadow, and then like you see it like standing there. Like like you can tell that it's there and it thinks it's hidden. And you identify that it is there. And then we move to Alcides.
Pretty sure
Wait,
cast
no.
the
Should've
higher
been-
dex mod.
Sorry. Wait, we started the round. Oh yeah. So yeah, who would have gone first? It would have been
I think Alcides would have, because we have the same. I have a +2 for.
okay.
As do
So-
I.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
I'll let Alcides go first, because.
Alright,
Got it.
so centered on the ladder, like where the actual doorway is between the two rooms, I'm gonna cast daylight,
okay.
and that'll be 60-foot radius sphere of light spreads out from there.
All right. And so inside the room that you're in, you're just gonna cast daylight, right?
It will affect both rooms, so I'm casting it like on the ladder well.
Got it. So that it blasts between the upper room and the second room.
You
Yep.
just turn on the lights.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yep. So that light goes out and pumps up the light in both of those rooms there, and so now that there are less shadows, making it harder to hide for sure, giving it almost.
And if it overlaps with any spells that create darkness, 3rd level or lower, they are dispelled.
Okay. So what the creature? So did you see the difference? The creature down below, what it did is it actually like hid it tried to hide. So now it like the light floods it, and you can see the shadow, this literally moving shadow like specter, the creature that was in the room with you, it actually went outside of the structure and like reached in through the walls for like that's why it was attacking at disadvantage. So it was like literally raking its hands through the wall. So you still don't see it, but you can tell it's out. You are able to now tell that it's somewhere on the exterior of the structure, while the other one is downstairs, standing right there in the room with Calix. All right. That. So.
I was gonna say I'm gonna quickly climb down the ladder.
Okay. So we're now on the. We're gonna just make this the first floor now, where Calix is here, so you get.
And take 2 attacks at the Spectre with the Sunblade.
Yep. One right there.
Does a 13 hit?
That will hit.
Nice. So the 13 hits, the 22 will definitely hit.
Mm-hmm.
Or that is 15 plus 14, so 29 radiant damage.
Jeez. So you slice the thing and immediately like you tear, and as it screams out, you hear little Nazari go like he sounds like he's screaming from somewhere deep in the shadow.
What shadows? It's bright as hell in here.
The thing is still like so the thing is you can see it, right? It is a shadow. It is like a giant void-like shadow-like demon. But you hear Nazari coming from inside of it, screaming like you hear him like calling out for help from, and you hear the thing like when it opened up for a second as it kind of peeled itself back together. It's bright, but that radiant light doesn't dissipate what this thing is.
It's not radiant light; it's sunlight.
Sunlight. It still doesn't make this thing go away. It's like a shadow demon.
Like squid.
Yeah.
In the water.
Yeah.
Cool. And man, I wish the Sunblade dealt more damage to other things than just undead.
Actually, you did 29 radiant damage, right?
Yep.
And that was all. Give me 1 second. Let me check this.
Because somehow I can add my strength mod to radiant damage with the Sunblade, but
I rarely use, but when something's vulnerable, does it take double?
yeah, if it's vulnerable, it takes double damage.
Okay, then how do you kill it?
Just kind of unexpectedly, just normal slice.
Yep. So it slowly, it's like that slash as it's trying to put itself together, and the light in the room, it's just like peeling and peeling and peeling away, until it like turns into smoke and the light just like blasts, and it's gone. Now, Calix, you had just went. Was that out of turn because Alcides was supposed to go before you, or did
No, Alcides went before me.
Uh-huh.
But he tried to hide, so I haven't taken a turn yet. I've just been
Got it,
sitting
I'm
there
just-
like,
okay.
that's
Got
what it is.
So now it's your turn.
Okay. Do I?
Yeah, so the other one you don't see anything.
Yeah,
but
no,
you
I
know
don't.
it's around. You
I
can
know.
hear it and you can hear it scream out somewhere outside of the tower when that happens.
Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm like, is there more? Or I'm gonna ask Alcides, is there more?
There's one more,
Okay.
to my
Upstairs?
knowledge.
Upstairs?
It was not upstairs. I think
Okay.
it went through the wall,
All right. I'll be
or
ready.
disappeared into, or I think it disappeared into the shadows.
Sound good. I'm gonna cast Blink on myself.
Okay. And where's he blinking to? Just to the.
Well,
He goes. Oh yeah, so he has to go to the little
And then,
dimension.
well, I might not. And like I tap myself. No. Doesn't.
Shit.
And draw out the twin scimitars and just ready for whatever.
Nice. Doth is kind of looking around for whatever may happen next, and I imagine he like hears something and he turns and he looks at the door and Doth goes Mimsy and the door swings open. And the thing is like standing right there. He like rushes at it and him and the thing are fighting and then Doth he, like kind of grabs Doth and throws him and he kind of like slides and like is ends up coming to that cliff and it loses his footing. And so the doorway is open and so if you're like in the room, if Alcides is in the room, then he can see it materialize right there in the doorway after turning away from Doth. Standing there in the darkness. I think this top of the rounds, the shadow demon goes, and of course, this time angry with all the light, it doesn't want to go in the room. But I guess it's going to have to, so it will go in and try to attack at a disadvantage, right?
Oh, Calyx is still in there in the room, by the way. He didn't do it.
Oh, Calyx didn't get away, huh?
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to make A, because I am just, monsters, these spirits are better than this. This is all this radiant fucking light. The thing just kind of, and it like hisses out and goes, I will remember. And it suddenly like begins to like move, like float away. And you realize Nazari's still nowhere to be found. And so both of you standing there breaking combat. Can I have a perception check?
That'll be a 16.
13.
Okay, so Alcides, you look, and as the thing turns to float into the abyss where that light is, where the light, trying to get away from the light as quickly as possible, a hand juts out of the back of its like billowing black, dark, smoky cloak, and it's Nazari, and he's like caught inside of this thing, and he's like, you hear him like, help, help, and his like hand is out, like reaching for someone to reach out and like pull him. What do you do?
I cast Guiding Bolt at 2nd level.
Okay.
That'll be.
So here's what I'll say. These are one of those moments where I am kind of turning this into a skill-based challenge or check. Attacks work often in these situations, but if they don't do enough damage to free him, which at this point it should, because you got the radiant, you got the good stuff. But just letting you know that he may be able to escape. You may be like, yeah.
And my familiar fly in. It's been flying around the whole time. Can it fly in to like give Alcides advantage, kind of providing the help action by just fucking with the...
I'm gonna say no. I think it would just be a nuisance. I don't think it would really hurt this thing.
Well, no, it's not gonna hurt him, but it's enough of a nuisance to like make it easier aim.
I want this to be a roll that he has to succeed on his own.
I mean, that's a 17 plus 5.
I rarely overroll those kinds of things, but I like the idea. I'm just gonna. It's a what?
Yeah.
That's a 17 on the dice.
Okay.
So with Guiding Bolt, that's another +7, so that would be 24.
Is it radiant?
Yep. I haven't rolled the damage yet.
Okay.
That was to hit. Five, 4, 2, 3. So that's 9, 11, 14 plus 6. 14 plus 6. So that's a dirty. So that's not dirty 20. That's just 20 damage.
Okay. How much? 20?
20 radiant.
So 40.
Yep.
Okay. So this huge blast thing goes out, and as most of the smoke dissipates for a moment there, the shadows like pushing away, Nazari's like able to kind of like trying to like leap out, but the thing is pushing up, and he's like 40 feet from the ground. Is there any way you can help him, Calyx, as he's like escaping?
I mean, you have advantage to hit him.
Because
of the guiding bolt.
The spirit is like at this point, how can you help Nazari as he's trying to leap out? And
not fall.
Yeah, and Nazari, normally he could just leap into the shadows, but he's like drained, right? Like he's like
Yeah.
not, and he's like kind of falling. Yeah,
He accidentally
I
jumped
can have
into a
the
shadow
I can have the
creature. He's a little
specter fly out.
cautious.
It has 50 feet of movement.
yeah, he jumped into the shadow creature essentially. Like it was like another void. It was like he couldn't get out after that.
I can have the specter move and try and save him. As a
Oh yes, so you leave it to
100 feet.
Fealties to try to get him.
100 feet of dashing. We're like, save the goat.
All right, I will. You got to roll for the specter. It will be
You
a
get an additional 10 feet of movement if you start your turn next to me. So
straight roll to catch Nazari. It's going to be it's an athletics check on this creature, but it's also spirit, and I don't think he's been dead long enough to like move things and stuff really well. So it's going to be a disadvantage. Straight roll athletics disadvantage.
Okay. I'm gonna roll survival and then I'll add the modifier or subtract modifier.
Okay.
That's a -1.
Oh my god! So you see him like reach out, and he's like, "I'll get him," and then you can tell if Yatis is trying. He like leaps out, and he just cries to cradle Nazari, and Nazari's like, "I'm not good at this." Nazari falling through his hands. He tries to match it and catch him, and they both because since he's kind of like a spectral bluish energy, he was like a purple in life, so he's like a glowing purple spirit. You see them both dropping very, very fast as he's trying to catch him, and they go into the gap, like the cavern, down. And it's quiet. They both disappear. And so what do you all do? So I mean, this thing is gone. These guys is this is kind of a hairy moment. Doth is like, what is happening? And so what you've realized so far from Doth is realized, kind of sharing with you, Mimsy opens and closes the door to the fortress, right? And you're standing there over the abyss, looking down into the dark, like, oh shit, like, do we have to go down there and get our friend? Anything you guys are saying or doing?
Mimsy to close the door behind us. And then...
Oh, you're going to close the door behind you, yep.
Hopefully nothing is around to hear the code word to open the door.
Say what?
How long does fly last?
10 minutes. So this has all happened. I'm gonna like you guys flew around for about 5 minutes. You came, you walked in. I imagine that 10 minutes went by before this combat happened. I think fly is over.
Well, even then, I would have to. I just assume that fly ended.
Yeah. Especially it's a concentration spell too, and you would have yeah.
I took. Here, I'll roll a concentration check. Just that. Yeah, no, it definitely dropped.
Suddenly, down the hallway, the path on your side, you can hear something is coming down, coming to this perch, about to come out of the cavern that's on this side that leads to this point. Does anyone speak Minotaur?
Doth does.
So Doth hears and goes, what? Doth goes, Minotaur is coming. There's very broken olden language. They're saying it's something about inspecting the fortress.
Alex is gonna transform into a Minotaur.
Of course, yeah. So Alex is like, turns into one.
Panicking, like trying to like just like drop the new guy at work, like, and is now just like fuck.
And so as we kind of pan back between this gap. Now there's time here as Doth is telling you they're coming. Do you guys stand your ground? Do you go back inside the fortress and prepare for their approach? Do you try to scale into the cavern to go find Nazari before you go back in?
Yeah, I was gonna say just looking down over the abyss for Nazari.
It's dark down there, man.
Is there any arrow slits in the fortress?
There are. Actually,
Okay.
at least I believe there are, but I believe yes, I believe there are. I'm gonna say yes, so since I've said yes, it's recorded.
I'm just gonna like run in and say Memsy and like hop and try and like get to the top and see through my familiar's eyes as it's circling around.
Nice. Um, and so as you kind of like rush up and you're familiar, you like get to the top of the battlements. The As you're standing there, you notice that the when you come up the door this time, well, you say Nimsy, right, to get to the top. And as you stand there, looking out, you can hear the. You can start to see figures starting to come through that dark cave. You see a number of them. Like you can start to see the silhouettes of the Minotaur. Or at least through the eyes of your familiar, and the familiar can also see that the hoplites turn and look at you, and then kind of like and like step back and look out, almost as though they're protecting you from the perch, as though they'll like defend you, like they'll
Okay.
by saying Mimsy, they have you all get the feeling, and even Doth knows this, that those gargoyles protect the tower, which means that you are now the rightful owners of the tower because you've said Mimsy, you've opened it, you now know to open and close it. So Alcides, do you stay outside with Doth, or do you guys go?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys just stand there and wait, and so that means when the Minotaurs show, they see you, and there's like a bloodlust in their lives. They go, oh, bro, and they start cursing out, and Doth is like, they're cursing, like they're just screaming extreme, like they just, it's not even making all sense other than they want to kill us, like immediately, and you can tell that all their horns are blood tipped. And they're all Minotaurs of different type. So, and as we kind of stand there, these two, a crevice or a rift between the tower, Palix up there, the Minotaurs are all ready to leap over in slow motion, 300 style, to make their attack. And somewhere, little,
I was gonna say before they arrived, I dropped the torch down. That way he can throw the torch and make his own shadows to try and get his way back up.
yep. So the torch, so boom, the lights go out, the torch drops in the dark, no music, and there, in the darkness, the torch is there. We hear some breathing as we push on the light, and someone kind of crawls into the light, and it's little Nimsy. I mean, little
Nazari.
Nazari, and he looks over, and out of one of the shadows is a Minotaur down there, breathing, crash to black, into night session. So we'll pick up on a pretty crazy fight next game. Good game.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
This session was just one encounter after the other.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I mean, that's what happens when you don't have like 4 or 6 people negotiating everything.
Yeah.
You just kind of keep moving. And I will say, unlike a lot of our games where this labyrinth is just one big dungeon, so it is just one big encounter after another, to some degree, until you find your way through it, right? So it's like, yeah, that's why I was like, I wanted it to be very clear that it was like it's dungeon room after dungeon room almost, like, but it's instead of you choose, you're kind of choosing it based on the level of your checks, what decisions you make. That's kind of like how I choose where you end up, right? So there was some randomness to it, but the fact that you ended up here at the tower, if you notice the fact that I was making things, I took a lot of breaks to change things around, means that like nothing's really like, I knew it's not like this was meant to happen tonight. This is the direction you get. This is where you guys found yourself in the greater sense of Scophos. So
we found the one place we can take a long rest.
Yeah, if you could, yeah.
If we can hold on to it.
I was hoping. I thought like if Doth was here, I was like for sure, because doesn't Doth have Identify?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like sure somebody would cast Identify on this thing, but yeah. So this should, at least we'll definitely be starting off next game with your first Minotaur fight. So that should be fun.
I got one level 1 spell slot. Let's do this.
I've got no spell slots left, but I think I have the Accursed Specters with him.
I was trying to give Alcides a chance to back down and go inside and close the doors and just let the structure sit there, so there'll be like a bit of a stalemate. Like let them have to figure out someone's inside right before attacking, because the structure itself is really strong. So yeah. So I couldn't help but use Nazari in that moment for some narrative, plot as a plot device, because it was perfect. Because like he's always hopping in the shadows.
Yeah,
and he's just right into this fucking demon.
That's great. That was like, if I the demon shadow mode, that's exactly.
See, if he would have been here, he probably would have hopped into it anyway.
Yeah, he probably would have hopped into it. He's always like, and the reason I take liberties when I'm like, because I've heard him multiple times. Is there a shadow I can hop into? Is there a shadow I can hop into? Yeah. So like, of course he's gonna hop into it. And that was I kept saying that was the darkest room, right? It's really dark up there. So I think the shadows had slipped in and killed whoever was originally in the fortress that was keeping the minotaurs and stuff at bay. The shadows got to them and killed them.
I thought nothing could penetrate the fortress once it was set up, like go through the walls, magical and stuff.
If that's the case, then there's no way your guy Fielty should go through. You gotta play by the same rules.
I know, that's I'm like, the fact that he got in meant that something else could get in, because with all the rations still being there and the skeleton being there, I was like, something's up.
Yeah. Again, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be the exact.
And now we know if we do stay in this thing, we got to be worried about things that can pass through walls.
Yeah.
So it's not a completely safe fortress.
Technically, if it is, let's say, if it is the, what do you call fortress? What does it say there? Let's see. If it is.
I just said instant fortress.
What would it be?
Because they're getting rid of the names for it, I think.
Are they getting rid of the names? They're just going to call it.
Because like they have one where it's like, we'll have like Earthen Grasp instead of Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. It's like, that's not fun.
Oh, so they're gonna take Darn's name off of it? Like,
yeah, like I don't like that. Like
I don't like that either. That's where the lore comes from. That's like the story behind it.
There's so many more of those with wizards, and it's like, yeah, that makes sense. There are people that are studying this magic. Like, you gotta be a little egotistical to be honest.
Right.
So I feel like putting your name on it makes sense.
Especially if they're the ones that created a spell or modified a spell to their purpose.
Like, wouldn't you do the same thing? Right?
The LCD spear throw.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
It's not the sharpshooter feat, it's the Calyx good with bow feat.
And actually, there's nowhere in this description that says no one can get in. It gives you how much hit points the walls have. It has it can tell you what can open it, what spells can open it, what spells prevent it from opening. But if you guys are reading the same thing I'm reading, I don't see where spirits wouldn't be able to get in.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't read.
So if it is
years, so
I'll share with you. It is Darn's instant fortress. Whoever uses it was an instant fortress, so you can use this action in place. Because maybe I'm wrong. Because sometimes I'd be like, maybe I'm just reading real fast and I'll be missing stuff. So you can use this, because I'm terrible with D&D rules. You can use this action to place this 1-inch metal cube on the ground and speak command word. The cube rapidly grows into a fortress that remains until you use an action to speak the command word to dismiss it, which works only if the fortress is empty. That's why otherwise we say the word just keeps opening and closing the doors. The fortress is a square tower, 20 feet on each side, 30 feet high, with arrow slits on all sides, and a battlement on top. Its interior is divided into 2 floors with a ladder running along one wall connecting them. The ladder ends at a trap door leading to the roof, which activated the tower has a small door on the side facing you. The door opens only at your command, which you can speak as a bonus action. It is immune to knock, spell, and similar magic, such as that of chime of opening. Each creature in the area where the fortress appears must make a DC 17 dexterity save so they don't get bludgeoning damage when they're appearing.
You just drop a house on them.
You just pretty much just boom, drop that shit on somebody. Tower's made of adamantine, and its magic prevents it from being tipped over. The roof, the door, the walls each have 100 hit points, immunity to magic and non-magical weapons, excluding siege weapons, and resistant to all other damage. That's it. So only a wish spell can repair the fortress, and it goes on about wish can use it to repair doors, 50 plus. That's it. So yeah, I think spirits can get in. Like anything that can move through that adamantine can get in there. So yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to read all that, but I figured.
No, you're good.
Because you guys are pretty decent rule lawyers, so I want to make sure I'm like, that's what it says.
Well, it's like, all right, there's rules as written, and then there's rule, and it's like, okay, like technically my familiar could have helped there, but it's like, no, that's
That's what I like about the Champions rulebook. Like everything in Champions is like, oh yeah, all of this is. It's like at the end, it's all up to the game master.
Yeah, and I know you're familiar because I know what a familiar can do, and I know what they. But like, I'm like, with how much like a big shadow demon can fight with it. Yeah, they can get hindered. But I also wasn't playing that true to combat. I was playing it as like I wanted him to make that shot fair and square and not. Because here's the thing. Also, I give you guys a lot of advantage rolls, and you guys already. So like a shadow demon doesn't have a very high AC. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have allowed that had he needed to hit like a 20, 21 to hit this thing, and I knew he needed it. But I was like, LCD's almost never misses when he hits anyway. So I'm like, nah, I'm not. I'm not giving him advantage on this guiding bolt. No, thank you.
Yeah. +7 to hit, and it only had at least 13 AC.
Yeah, 13 AC, so. So it was a lot of low-level creatures, but back-to-back, right? It's supposed to be like, there's just like a lot of back-to-back shit. So it's not supposed to be very difficult, but it is a place where every time you guys rest, it could get hairy. And even if you do get this fortress, you can really only use it in spaces. I mean, you can't like fucking drop that bitch in like a cave. I mean, I guess you could. It probably just changes the entire structure.
Yeah.
I imagine like what happens if you like do that and it collapses the cave and you like fall like 300 feet. That's what the dungeon master has to think about, ways to just ruin the party's day.
Yeah.
It's like we're just falling in this elevator like on this like shaftway to hell.
I mean, does this? It seems like this fortress comes with 4 gargoyles. So
this one comes with 4 gargoyles. Yeah.
This is just a question. How would you rule someone like if you were falling 10,000 feet in the air, and then if they teleported like right before to land on the ground?
I would make them make a check. They got to make a check to try to do it. Whenever I do anything past like a certain amount of anything past like 100 feet, I treat it as like a falling scene, right? Where like you've got to make skill challenge checks. You need to have 4 successes before 2 failures, or 4 successes before 3, or 6 before 4, 6 before 3, or whatever it may be. I'll usually get some kind of number there, and you've got to do certain things to make that happen. But because that's going to be, you got to time that right. You can't. You're trying to breathe. You're trying not to pass out. As you're falling.
I'm just wondering if you were falling, and could you teleport to get out of it, or would you you're still holding the momentum?
Oh yeah, because you could you teleport over it and then still fall with the same momentum. I don't know. Yeah. Because you're saying teleport. That's what you're trying to teleport to break the fall.
Yeah.
That's why I'd say Dimension Door, the exact, or I'm trying to think of how to cancel out the physics. So if you fall 1,000 feet, you would want a Dimension Door below yourself, aimed 1,000 feet up. That way, that it would cancel out to land above.
Interesting.
So you would fall, hit that ellipsis as you're going up, and then that's where you'd want your landing point to be. So like in this cavern, like if you're falling down, you wouldn't want to Dimension Door back up to the top. You'd want the Dimension Door to spit you out the opposite way, to where you pretty much get right over the edge, and that's when you'd begin to fall again, so you can just grab on.
Got it. So you're saying Dimension Door the opposite way.
Yeah.
So you're falling down, you Dimension Door up, so you kind of go, boop, you fly out and come down,
Yep.
just wondering if like
Can you change the direction of a dimension door? Yeah, I guess.
It
Well, you
says
can't-
you get to
well-
choose the exit
The
location.
exit location.
you
So-
get to choose the locate. You're dropping yourself. You're taking yourself where you were, and then
Yeah. So I don't think you can turn the. I don't know if you can turn the exit location upside down, because that's what that sounds like I hear. I mean, and that's the thing about D&D is it allows for interpretation of rules, and that's up to the DM. You know, I guess like, but could you take because if you're just moving the exit location, you still drop out the. But he's saying like you're doing that, so you go flying out at that momentum, or you go flying out that way.
If you were a sorcerer and you like mess with your magic and things like that, I bet you could do that. But as a wizard who plays by books, that's sort of like because like sorcerers are kind of underpowered compared to wizards.
Yeah.
So it's like I just allow sorcerers just a little bit more flexibility.
I give them a little bit more flexibility too, as well.
Yeah.
Because they don't have as
Like
much.
wizard, you're by the book.
Yeah. That
You
makes sense.
like it, and it makes sense. Now
That makes
warlock, on the other hand, like sometimes if they're really overpowered, I'm just like monkey's fist sort of thing, where it's like, okay, all right, you if you're trying to stretch it, I'm gonna stretch it back on you. But
There's going to be a lot of minotaurs too in this section, so I'm trying to make them. I'm actually still working on it, making them all different, because so they're not all the same fucking minotaur.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be.
I mean, they all look different, like body wise.
Yeah, but D&D only has one minotaur. Like in the rulebook, like they have a couple, but they have like skeletal minotaur, but they don't have different types of minotaurs. So I've been like, I've been coming up with different.
You're giving your minotaurs different classes.
Different classes, yeah. So that's what I'm working on now. Like, so that they'll be more interesting. There's like the medium ones. So the medium ones need to be different from the large ones, and then a little difference on what they like, what weapons they have, and then with a slight change to abilities on certain ones. Because I ended up getting a bunch of them, but yeah, they're all different. And in old editions of D&D, they had a bunch. They had like Minotaur Thug, they had Young Minotaur, they had a ton of them. But D&D 5e has Minotaur.
I mean, D&D 5e also just has like different like soldier, guard,
Yes,
but
yeah,
it also says
you
you
gotta
can
play
change it to whatever race.
You can. That's true. And add those abilities. So I'll do that. I've been doing that, kind of figuring that out. So that
Just don't make any of them Melitus guards where they get that extra cantrip attack.
that cantrip attack is great. They get like little magic from Mogus.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Hellish Rebuke.
Give them all 3 levels of Bear Totem Barbarian. Just fuck
I
our
don't
day.
like to overcomplicate. I know sometimes my bad guys can be a little boring because I just don't like overcomplicating things for myself, because the more I give them, the more I have to think in combat. And like, it's not that I don't mind. It's just like you're already doing so much. I'm trying to like keep it moving for you all so that you can spend your time doing all the creative shit, even though I know it's boring if the monsters do the same thing. So it's like, got to give them a little bit of variety. But I need to keep it easy enough for me to be like, okay, that one's a little different because these groups do that, that one special thing. Like me, I rarely even like building. Like I know some people love like when they have a villain, they build the villain as a character. I know that's definitely like Jack. Not me, man. I have no time to like crawl over a character sheet. I'm like,
you think of like the character, like I'll build a character like as inspiration. So like for the campaign that I'm planning on running, and I want it to like at first be a civil war, brought on by Worshipper of Bogus.
Okay.
Just to distract, just as a distraction. I don't know for what yet, but I want him to be a bugbear that was like eloquently spoken. Yeah. And just like if anyone knows anything about bugbears, what is going on here? I want him to be a warlock that so pretty much when it's turn, I think you like maybe like 3 times, you get dominate person, you only attack the casters and the things like that. You don't want to do the melee guys. And then attack the melee guys with a whole bunch of legendary actions with a rapier. And then once he gets down to about a quarter health, immediately into like a frenzy with a maul.
Okay.
Because like he's just trying to maintain this eloquency, and then once he starts losing, Mogus is just like, "Fuck you, no more shit, no more cool shit."
So building him as a bugbear, it's like, I like that. I mean, it totally like, works.
Yeah, well, it was originally like a warlock barbarian multi-class, and like it's like takes like 17 levels for it to like actually start working.
Yeah.
But as a villain, you could just do it like, oh yeah. you can have him use a rapier and be all cool and cast some spells, and then all of a sudden all that's gone, and then he's a cage
Right.
and hanger monster.
Yeah, I'm more like I will go in. I do more take a monster that exists, go in and use it as a template, and then change all of its stats. Or like for like my main builds usually like if it's gonna be it'll like be based on a lich, but how do I give it all the abilities that this lich doesn't have? Maybe it's a lich fighter, right? Like how do I give him champion abilities and like just take a few things. But yeah, I mean they both completely work. And I commend those that can do that with the whole character sheet thing.
Yeah. There's a character I want to build just based off a Magic the Gathering card. I think it's like Sacrificial Magus. And pretty much the card description is there was still one fuel left to burn. Because like the image is the mage catching himself on fire.
Interesting.
So what I want to do with that was just 3 levels of barbarian for the storm barbarian to just emit fire when raging.
Nice.
And then go Scourge Asimar for the radiant consumption, so he's also consuming himself, just dealing that damage over time.
I like it.
So, and then like the rest sorcerer levels. It's like, oh, out of spell slots. Well, I got one thing left. Burn myself.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I'm glad you guys are Scophos. I've been wanting to explore this side of the map.
Yeah. No, Scophos is it's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
It's definitely interesting.
I mean, you've got Scophos, you've got the Ashlands, which are pretty interesting.
We just flew over that shit.
The idea of the Time Drinker that lives in the Ashlands. So the Time Drinker is a dragon, ashen. So it's a white dragon, but it's really not a white dragon because there's only 2 dragons that exist. So it's either a blue. No one knows. It's either a blue or a red dragon that is like caked in the ash from when Velis erupted. So it's white, but it's an oracle. The dragon itself is an oracle, and it's a really like big thing to see if you ever see it like flying around, which it rarely moves. So, but it lives in the Ashlands. So that's, and then you got the Badlands where a lot of the Aquarians are usually fighting Minotaurs and stuff. You got the Deathbellow Canyons. Then they're the Porphyros outposts are where like the Aquarians have outposts, and then you get farther south and you get to the to Odunos, which no one in any of our campaigns has been to Odunos too, but that's like home of the Murder King.
I was gonna say,
like no one wants to go. Like no one wants to go up in there.
All right, just nobody wants to go there. Nobody's gonna willingly go there, unless they're expecting a fight.
I mean, if you would have said Aronius was captured in there, we would have gone there.
We would go there, yeah. And so what I would say, although my dungeon master is different, but my dungeon master, who is notorious for building the most broken of monsters, is Nick. And Nick built Murder King, and so since he is he operates Crufix in my world, and I gave him that ownership, I have to use that stat block if you ever fight Murder King. So it is just like that's going to kill a lot of players. Like it's like this.
Temerate is going to aim directly for me. Like, just
oh yeah, then if
it ever comes out that there's a shapeshifter for one.
You will be the target. Yeah, it will not be good. So thank God you guys have not had to go to. That's a very different city from Asphodel, right? Like it is. Mm-hmm. It's essentially the
Asphodel. Just like people just want to be left the fuck alone. Yeah. Temerate is just like, oh yeah, we're just gonna kill everybody.
No, it's the Scophos of the undead lands, right? Like it is.
They give undead a bad name.
Yeah, yeah, they're those guys. Oh man, this has been fun. Yeah.
Well, probably too much to hope that we can negotiate with these Minotaurs, but we would need Doth here for that session.
Yeah, they definitely don't look like they are. And I'll be honest with you, I don't expect Doth to be able to negotiate with a lot of fucking things that live in Scophos.
Yeah, no.
I think there's a reason.
There's a reason why I'm just straight up hiding.
Yeah.
I'm like,
there's like, you can't show up to a bunch of Vikings with a some dude like a Constantinople from, be like, hi, my fellow gentlemen, it's all right. Let us talk this out. And a gentleman, you're gonna take stabs and arrows to the face immediately, right? Like Doss said last time, he's like, there's a reason I left. So, I expect him to be helpful with certain translations and things, but coming across
when your social butterfly's hiding, that's a sign that it shouldn't be social.
Yeah, I can't wait to accidentally kill LCD's father with a heart attack by having Doth use fly around him.
He's like, why are you flying?
Oh, that's a go-to. Thank you for that heads up.
Because that's a joke that his father said. He's like, "Oh, you can beat me in combat, yeah, when Minotaurs fly."
I actually figured out Doth has flown the most out of all of us.
He really has. He's been flying since this game began.
Well, ignoring the levitate stuff that he does, but I've cast fly on him more than I have myself.
That's what it was. Yeah, you've been kind of like laid back and fly. Oh man, good stuff, man. Yeah, it's well, I mean, we got through some stuff. You at least, so it wasn't a big loss. You guys have gotten pretty decently through a first part of Scope.
We needed a good, or at least I needed a good dungeon crawl.
Yeah, that was fun.
I had a big presentation on Friday, so I was so done with talking. I'm just like, I cannot reason with. I don't want to think about reasoning. I don't want to do this. Like, perfect a dungeon crawl.
Yeah, you didn't have to do a lot of being Calyx, changing a lot of yourself and being deceptive.
Well, that's how we felt with. Oh god, because like everyone's asking alternative proteins and things like that, and it's like I'm talking to people who raise cows, and I'm talking to vegans. Like, you got to pull a Calyx, just change your face.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I hear you on there. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Yeah, because it's like, are the vegans? I mean, of course, I guess then because the vegans won't eat the crickets. Or do you find a lot of vegans are against the even use of crickets? They're kind of used to any kind of.
Definitely, the cow ranchers are very against it until you start describing like, this isn't going to replace everything, and this is what you will be growing, or what you could be growing and create a big profit. And then the vegans are like, well, are these crickets treated like humanely? And I'm like,
they're fucking crickets.
If you put thousands of crickets onto a field 100 acres wide, they're all going to combine into one little mass.
Okay.
Because it's just like they
what do they? I mean, yeah, I don't know anything. What do crickets do in the wild? Like, how do they operate? Like,
all they do is just eat grass and dirt and multiply. That's it.
Okay, got it.
And
what makes them? Are they sustainable because of how quickly they multiply?
So, well, they're sustainable because a cow will release methane, and so that's why they're more sustainable for the world. But like, as someone who knows a lot about both sides, like, that's not a good argument for it.
Because I mean, are you planning to make like kind of cricket-based meats, like cricket-based protein meats?
No. This is for this is like the filler stuff. So it's like it'll be added like to sausages and like or pastas and alternative proteins Did you tell LCDs? Did you tell? I don't know. Were you on the call, Jameson, when Jack talked about the
cricket
pasta?
Powdered cricket? Yeah, because I asked a question like, where do you get powdered cricket from?
No. Last game, cricket pasta. The pasta itself, and I asked him, and I asked you, is that powder in the pasta, like in the bread? You said no. You said the pasta was made of cricket, 100%.
Yeah, the pasta was made of cricket.
100% cricket pasta.
Not 100%. I think we got to 75%.
75. That's
70%. 75% of the flour was cricket.
So 75% of the flour was cricket. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, what's it called? Here's
the thing. I imagine crickets are a lot like I like pecans or nuts when I use it. I've made like pecan chili when I was trying to do some vegan. But if I eat too much of it, because you said like I imagine like it fills you up and packs your gut. So
yeah. Here's the brownie.
It's a brownie. Oh shit.
It's good brownie.
I remember it like being so stuck in my gut because of just how, yeah.
Well,
If you eat too much of it, like
it's so filling because it's so protein dense.
it's dense. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean,
But
yeah,
it's like we doubled the amount of protein in the sausage, like almost exponential for the brownie. Like
Interesting.
I think like the original was like 10%, and then we got it to like 40-50% protein.
So you would be telling the beef owners to add cricket protein to their beef? Is that what you were trying to do, to bump?
Well, not add cricket protein to their beef, but like be able, because a lot of that land you can't grow stuff on it. You
Oh,
can only grow cattle, so you can do that, but with cricket, and it's
okay.
for how little you have to feed them. Because for most of their like, you really just have to feed them once. Take them, like you feed them once, you take them, they're grown up. You pretty much have to starve them to get rid of the like they don't have like any fat or anything. They're gonna keep the amount of protein. You pretty much starve them, get rid of all their the excrement, and then you freeze them and you powder them, and that takes 2 days to get. And you can sell. Well, right now it's kind of expensive because not a lot of people are selling them. But like if all the ranchers in California moved to cricket, you'd be like about like a little bit above what you would be doing for cow.
Interesting.
So it's
Interesting.
interesting.
how do
And
you
it's-
keep the crickets in the area to be harvested?
You just keep them in a box. Like you to what's it called? You don't let them out in the open field for obvious reasons. But if you just keep them,
So yeah,
fine
you're not going to
mesh.
get the
and you
heat
also
up
need like
for that because they want their
free.
free range crickets, you know.
But
Yeah. Are the crickets humanely treated? Like, are they free range crickets?
I had people asking me that.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are the crickets treated?
I'm gonna be honest. I agree with that kind of stuff. So I know it sounds ridiculous to some
Yeah, no.
people.
It's like
I
it
can't
does.
help but I'm not like I don't care because it's even less about like, am I like gonna cry that crickets are like dying? Or, like, I still eat meat, right? But I do understand that. I think that there's a part of being a better steward of the earth and of things, which it sounds like this is kind of moving that direction and that idea of like, for me it's like, do I cry when a cow dies? No, but is it sensible to kill as many cows as we kill just to fucking throw the meat in a trash can like every night at the end of like every McDonald's that like throw just to make, for example, McDonald's to me, for what that tastes like, McDonald's could be Beyond Beef tomorrow. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we need to get to a point where, like, and with all the methane gas, of why not just have, when you eat beef, it should be like steak. It should be, that's not how I treat it. Like, I don't eat trash beef at all.
You know who would probably want cricket powder if it's cheap and renewable and great in protein?
Yeah.
MREs / the military. Because if it's like a powder, that means that it can be preserved a lot easier instead of actual meat.
Yeah. And I just think it's better when your animals, don't live like the way I've seen some of like the way keep chicken and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, that can't. That's fucking
chicken's
awful.
really fucked up.
Yeah, it's right.
But I can attest for beef because that these animals are treated extremely well.
Yeah.
They only have one bad day in their life, because if they only have one bad day, that's the last day.
It's the day that's
But
the last
if
day.
they have any sort of stress or anything, you can taste that in the meat.
And I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but with chickens on the other hand, because they're eggs and due to the they don't use their breast. That's why salmonella is only really in chicken.
Interesting.
You can have like medium rare duck, but you can't have medium rare chicken.
That makes sense.
It's not just because they're poultry, but you can treat them more like shit because they're not using those muscles. No stress is going to those muscles.
That's why they treat them that way. Like, yeah.
And then pigs want to be treated that way. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why pigs.
Give me the fucking schlop.
Yeah. If you give 3 pigs 3 acres of land, they will all be on the same 100 feet, just piled on top of each
Just
other.
pile on top of each other, right? So they don't mind
Things
being
like that.
close. Interesting.
So like earlier this year, they passed a law that's like, oh, pigs need more space. It's like they don't want more space. You give them more space, they're not gonna use it.
They like their mud shit mix
Mhm.
that they have made, and they will lay in. They will bathe in it. Like
Right.
that's their spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. That's interesting, dude. I love. Yeah. It's like
Oh,
it's.
this is all that my college is doing is focusing on sustainability, because right when we go into the workforce, it's like money, 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 money,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of people will like stay and like do graduate research and undergrad, and they'll just keep they'll stay as long as they can, because once you focus on money, you can't go back.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like as I get old. I mean, it's crazy how I'm only 42 and what I've seen in that 42 years, and just I always often like to think about like the span of several hundred years, and it's kind of just crazy to think that even just in my short time, like all the science fiction books I've ever read, like all the dystopian kind of like cyberpunk stuff, it's interesting that like we're talking about sustainable cricket meal, and like in all those stories they were talking about that stuff way back in the day, like we're gonna be like using like mealworm for all this stuff, and you're like, what is that? And you're like, that'll never happen. You're like, well, the beef won't be real. Now it's like everything you go to the store, you're literally just buying. Like, it's crazy.
I mean, the undergrad or the graduate before who like kind of started this whole thing, like those like scorpions that they sell like at the candy store that were like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there with the teacher and was like, this is what I want to study. So she got a huge grant to work on bugs, and he started with maximizing the amount of nutrients you could feed into a mealworm, and so how much you could feed. You could fill. Okay, here, I got a 2 ounce cup. Okay, you could fill this with mealworms.
Mm-hmm.
With the mealworms he was growing, that would feed you for a day.
Wow, that's crazy.
It was insane. Now the problem is mealworms aren't approved by the FDA, blah blah blah. But the work's going into pigs.
Interesting.
So you'd feed them like, I think it was like 10 ounces.
Yeah.
Of or 10 liquid ounce or 10 fluid ounces of powdered mealworm, and they're full. There was so much protein and so much carbohydrates.
Wow.
It was a mix
I didn't hear that. What would get filled up by that?
The pigs.
Pigs would get filled up by 10 ounces of liquid mealworm?
Pretty much.
Damn.
Just by fed like
That's pretty
we were
impressive.
fed like a super high fat diet. So like their insides were like, loaded with fat because they couldn't digest it right.
Yeah.
Like how like you digest carbohydrates first and then you digest fat?
Yeah.
It's like multiplied by 1,000 in mealworms apparently.
Interesting.
So
Dude.
anyways, so his research, he just graduated like 1 or 2 years ago. So his thesis is out there somewhere, and I don't know if it's used, but
It's thoroughly interesting stuff. I'm always like, dude, like, what is? And that is one thing I do look for when I'm about to talk to you, Jack. I'm like, what is Jack working on this week? Like, what new information?
oh, you'll never believe what I'm working over this summer. Doing so you take to bake a baby carrot. What you do is you whittle down the carrot to make individual baby carrots.
Really?
And so there's so much waste that comes from that, and so they end up juicing that. And then you get like a good amount of vitamins and nutrients from it. But then
baby carrot isn't an actual like premature.
No.
Like you're actually just taking a bigger carrot and just cutting it down. Like, are you like?
Yeah. No, baby carrots are such a fucking waste.
It's a way, and my wife just went and got baby carrots at the farmer's market this past weekend, and she brought them home, and they cost more than the full carrots.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense, right? Like
you gotta put more work into it. Like so. Anyway,
I think it's because they look cleaner. That's why people get them. Like
I'll
just
give me a regular. Yeah, give me a regular.
Sometimes I'll just
like
wash
carrot
just a full
sticks.
carrot
Like
and eat that thing.
Don't get baby carrots. They're freaking waste. But so there's so much of that waste there, or there's so much that it's called carrot pumice. There's so much of that waste that people will pay for shipping to get rid of it.
Wow.
So
Okay.
me and this professor has has talked to people all around California, and they just ship him the carrot pumice for free. So he has literal barrels filled with these things. Like, like those 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
He has like a dozen of those lined up, just filled with carrot pumice. What I'm gonna do is try to maximize the fat, the liquid retention, and the fat retention of that, because it has 0 carrot flavor at this point.
Right.
Because all the juice is gone.
Yeah.
So, maximize the fat and the liquid retention to see if you can mix it in with the burger to create a better burger.
Interesting, dude. That's.
I ran some primary things, and it's able to suck up more of that fat and more of the juice, so it tastes more like a burger than 100% beef.
So you're using carrot juice leftover to
No,
make
like the pulp.
The pulp.
Yeah.
The pulp. Okay, got it.
So pretty much
But-
rehydrating the dried up pulp with fats and flavor.
Okay.
Or with the, so like, we found like ideal